Hello, good morning. Welcome and thanks for joining us on the Tuesday edition of our flagship program, Morning Express, live on ADBN Television. My name is Beat O'Brien, welcoming you to the program. Before we get into the lineup for today, let's keep you abreast with news developments from Nigeria and across the world as we join Peace Ogenegbawe for ADBN News at 7. Hello, Peace. Good morning.
Hello, Beat O'Brien. Good morning to you. Good morning and welcome to ADBN News at 7. We bring up latest headlines from across the nation and the world. I am Peace Ogenegbawe. The Federal Executive Council has approved the establishment of a Citizens Value Brigade for primary and secondary schools across Nigeria. This move, aimed at addressing the decline in the nation's value system, was disclosed by the Minister of Information and National Orientation, Alhaji Muhammad Idris, after yesterday's FEC meeting chaired by President Bola Tinubu at Presidential Villa, Abuja. The government expressed concern over the erosion of traditional values, particularly among young Nigerians, and hopes this initiative will foster sustainable development. Now, Alhaji Idris explained that the Citizen Value Brigade will instill core national values and create a new generation of ambassadors for the country.
Council has noted that there is the need for strengthening and going back to these core values that Nigeria is known for over time, for which we know that there has been some kind of decline. So today, Council said, first, the National Citizens Values Brigade will be established, not just in primary schools, in secondary schools across this country.
The Federal Executive Council approved also the inclusion of a national value charter and national symbols into the civic education curriculum, making them mandatory in schools.
At every retreat, at the inception of every administration, members, for example, of the Federal Executive Council will have some form of workshop or training on what our national values are, so that this can be further be inculcated, and not only that, also the standardization of our national symbols.
The Information Minister says National Orientation Agency has been tasked with overseeing the proper use and standardization of national symbols such as the national flag and the Naira. The government is also committed to a broader reorientation of values among Nigerians. And away from that story, senators have extended their heartfelt congratulations to Senator Monday Okpebholo on his victory in the Edo State governorship election. The lawmakers spoke with ADBN News shortly after they returned from Edo State. Now our correspondent, Mariam Zakari, has details of this report.
The lawmakers praised their colleague Senator Okpebholo's resounding win, describing it as a testament to the trust and confidence the people of Edo State have placed on APC's vision for sustainable development.
And I must congratulate all APC leaders, especially the Senate President, the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, who has refused to interfere with anything, and all the leaders. I think we have done very well, and I congratulate Senator Monday for this success.
I want to congratulate him, and I wish him a successful tenure, and that if what I have seen over the last 18 months is anything to go by, I believe he will serve the people well. He's full of empathy. And one thing about leadership, when you look for leaders, you look for people who can empathize with their people, people who are emotionally intelligent, and that is what Monday Okpebholo has.
First, we thank God Almighty for giving victory to one of our own. Okpebholo, as you know, is a serving senator. So we thank God that God has given him that victory, and we pray that God will give him the wisdom to take Edo State to a greater height.
We made it. It shows that, yes, the people believe in the system, the people believe in all delivering, and the people believe in Monday Okpebholo. And I will say thank you, congratulations to Edo people. I saw a massive turnout of people, and you see where people are really enlightened. Edo people spoke. The people have spoken. It's now left for him to deliver. He gave promises, keep to it. And he should also note that power belongs to the people.
Answering questions on their assessment on the conduct of the just concluded Edo gubernatorial election, the lawmakers said the people of Edo have spoken through their votes.
I believe that the result is the reflection of what Edo people wanted, and it resonated by them voting the APC. And you will recall the way Edo State has been in the news over many years, and people are tired. And I believe that what we saw as a result is the making of the people.
Distinguished Senator Monday Okpebholo is a distinguished senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, duly elected by the people. So he has been in politics for some time. Anybody who knows what it takes to win senatorial election will also appreciate that it's not too different from gubernatorial election. So it's a victory that is well deserved. I witnessed the election from the beginning to the end, and he won convincingly. Yes. So it was free and fair and credible.
Edo people spoke loud and clear that they are for APC, and they will give God all the glory. I remember before now, Edo was an APC state. Not until sometime, a few years back, when Obaseki lost ticket, he has to cross over to PDP to secure his second term. But of a truth, Edo people love our party APC, and they have shown it clearly that they are for APC.
Okay, all the security agents were there, and they all have given their various reports, and on the whole, the election is adjudged to be very free and fair. And we're happy that our candidate won. Apart from being a senator, also an APC member. So I'm very happy that APC has taken over the state, and I want to believe that my colleague will do a very good job.
While urging Senator Okpebholo and Honorable Idahosa to be magnanimous in victory and extend an olive branch to their opponents, the lawmakers called for calm in the state, saying the outcome of the poll is the will of the people. Mariam Zakari, ADBN News.
Now let's cross over to Akwa Ibom State, where residents of the state have expressed their satisfaction with the state's accomplishments over the years as the state celebrates its 37th anniversary. Citizens from various sectors who spoke with our correspondent emphasized the advancements made since the state's creation in 1987. Engineer Ime Thompson, a native of Ibio Etoi in Uyo local government area, praised the infrastructural development initiated by previous administrations, specifically highlighting the leadership of former Governor Senator Godswill Akpabio, now Senate President of Nigeria. He described his tenure as a transformative period for the state.
It was a joyous atmosphere in the International Worship Center as residents and delegates from various walks of life came together to thank God for sustaining peace ahead of the state's anniversary on 23rd September 2024. Pastor Umoino congratulated everyone on reaching this significant milestone, acknowledging that his administration's successes would not have been possible without their support and cooperation.
The joy we have today is that we can have all our leaders come together under one roof to worship one God who has created Akwa Ibom, whether as PDP or whether as APC, whether as YPP, whether as any other party. We are Akwa Ibomites first, and we are bound by the love of our people.
President of the Senate, Senator Godswill Akpabio, represented by his wife, Mrs. Unoma Akpabio, lauded the State House of Assembly for amending the legislation to make the Akwa Ibom State Traditional Rulers Law rotational. She emphasized that the change has fostered significant unity and a sense of belonging among generations of Akwa Ibom children. She also conveyed the greetings of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and the National Assembly to the government and people of Akwa Ibom State on their 37th anniversary, offering prayers for the state's ongoing peace, unity, and prosperity.
Your Excellency, you're a man of God, and you know, and I know, that God Almighty preserves the godly. When you're a godly man, when you're a godly woman, don't be afraid of anything. God will preserve you.
Minister of State for Petroleum, Gas Resources, Obong Ekperipe commended Governor Umoina for promoting peace and unity in Akwa Ibom State, emphasizing that the governor has implemented critical measures to tackle the challenges confronting the state.
I appreciate you for what you have done in Akwa Ibom State, taking everybody along, irrespective of political affiliation. I salute you for that. You are the governor at the moment like this, and I refer to you as a good shepherd for Akwa Ibom people.
Former governor of the state, architect Victor Atta, expressed his joy and admiration for the state's rapid growth and development since its creation. He also applauded Governor Umoina for his efforts in fostering unity within the state, highlighting this as a remarkable achievement.
Your Excellency, I want to compliment you because you have united Akwa Ibom. Nobody can ever think that this is a place that used to translate simple English news into 9 different languages. I congratulate you.
The guest preacher, Reverend Godwin Amaowo, admonished Akwa Ibom people to be grateful for the peace and the indices of good governance in the state, describing peace as a prerequisite for prosperity and development.
God has given us a man that believes in inclusivity in governance. Sir, God bless you in the name of Jesus Christ. Politicians learn from this man after 8 years. Sir, you will never take us back to Egypt.
The service featured choir ministration by Government House Divine Voices, Christian Association of Nigeria Mass Choir, All Nation Christian Ministry Mass Choir, and presentation of gifts by beneficiaries of the United Kingdom Exchange Program. Mary Onyemechi, ADBN News.
We apologize for that mix-up. The reports will be brought in subsequent bulletins. But still staying with Akwa Ibom State, Akwa Ibom State Governor Pastor Umoina has approved the state's Traditional Ruler Law 2022, CAP 155, which allows for the rotation of the office of the President General of the Akwa Ibom State Traditional Rulers Council among various ethnic groups in the state, while presenting certificates of recognition to newly acknowledged traditional rulers at the Traditional Rulers Council Secretariat in Uyo. Pastor Eno urged citizens to rise above ethnic divisions and come together for the development of the country. Now let's join our ADBN State House correspondent, Mary Onyemechi, for more of the stories.
As Akwa Ibom celebrates 37 years of peace, progress and development, Pastor Umo Eno commended the traditional leaders for their peaceful approach to resolving issues in their communities, while urging them to avoid politics and support the current administration.
The matter today have been amicably resolved as we have just signed into law the rotation of the position of the President General of the Supreme Council of Traditional Rulers. The position will now be rotated among the ethnic configuration of our dear state. No one ethnic group is superior to the other, and as our state anthem says, let us rise above ethnicity.
The governor urged the traditional leaders to set aside anything that does not promote peace and to embody the true identity of the state, assuring them that he will continue to prioritize their welfare.
A short time, but will be remembered most importantly for the role we played while we were here on earth. Thank you so much, and I thank you. I thank all of our fathers, royal fathers, for the work they did in their various communities to hold down peace until this law has now been amicably resolved.
The Commissioner for Local Government and Chieftaincy Affairs, Honorable Frank Achibong, praised the governor for the peace experienced in the state and the political accommodation that has fostered hope for democracy, noting that the governor has successfully united traditional leaders and the opposition. Additionally, he emphasized that the governor's Arise agenda has led to development and improved infrastructure in rural communities, bringing great happiness to the people.
Leadership Arise agenda and has opened up new positions, rising stars, investment, security, and cultural. In other words, has brought remarks in our rural support for the land, including the pensioners.
The President General of the Akwa Ibom State Traditional Rulers, His Eminence Intenim Solomon Etuk, urged people both at home and abroad to contribute to the progress of their communities, emphasizing that everyone, regardless of gender or age, has a role to play in community development.
As a son and daughter of Akwa Ibom State, at home and in diaspora, we will take responsibility for whatever position is saddled upon us. Take responsibility. Remember, you have a role, very significant role to play. In a smaller community you belong, or at a larger community of Akwa Ibom State and Nigeria, play a vital role to build, but not to destroy.
The event included the presentation of certificates of recognition to 11 clan heads and 132 village heads by the governor. Mary Onyemechi, ADBN News.
And in another development, but still keeping with news from Akwa Ibom State, the Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria has declared the withdrawal of its services in Akwa Ibom State effective this morning, 24th September 2024, until further notice. A statement co-signed by IPMAN's Akwa Ibom State Chairman, Comrade Francis Udoyen, and Secretary Prince Ekom Idemudu, revealed that the action has been approved by the association's national office and non-compliance will result in appropriate consequences. This move follows the prolonged confiscation of trucks loaded with premium motor spirit by Joint Task Force personnel in Ibaka, Mbo local government area of the state, which have been held for 4 months. IPMAN's members in solidarity are directed to close their filling stations across the state. And now moving away from Akwa Ibom State, let's also have you know that health experts have called for urgent measures to curtail the prevalence of schistosomiasis, a disease affecting over 240 million people worldwide, with sub-Saharan Africa, which results in bladder cancer. During a capacity building workshop organized for health workers in primary and secondary healthcare facilities in Sokoto State by the National Institute for Cancer Research and Treatment, Dr. Mohammed Zaid, a lead consultant for the workshop from Usman Danfodio Teaching Hospital, said the disease can be prevented when detected early. We now join our ADBN Northwest correspondent, Lawal, for more story.
Dr. Muhammad Zaidu Sabitu, while giving an overview on the disease during the workshop, said it is more prevalent in riverine and farming communities, and children are more at risk of contracting the disease.
This workshop is supported by National Cancer Research Institute of Nigeria, where is supporting the Sokoto states to do a capacity building on bladder cancer as well as urinary schistosomiasis. Where that in this state is one of the area where we have higher burden of urinary schistosomiasis, where patients usually present, especially children, with symptoms suggestive of urinary schistosomiasis, blood in the urine, and other symptoms. This disease is linked to bladder cancer, and we know what is cancer. Cancer is usually a terminal illness in most of the cases, and in this environment, especially in riverine area, there is issue of cases of younger age presenting with bladder cancer, and most of these bladder cancer are linked to chronic complication of urinary schistosomiasis.
Speaking, the Director General of the National Institute for Cancer Research and Treatment, Professor Usman Malami Aliyu, reiterated the Institute's core mandate to conduct research and develop strategies to curb the disease prevalence in the country.
Of all this program is to have a holistic approach to reducing the scourge and the menace of this disease. And where do we start actually? So you cannot just start fighting a disease from afar. If you really want to tackle or halt what is actually causing a certain problem that is very much aware to virtually everybody, that is a health problem, most especially in this case schistosomiasis. The best way to attack it is one through prevention, and we all know the stages that we follow. But you can
A participant at the workshop, Muawiyah Usman, a scientist, shared his experience on the workshop.
This workshop has helped a lot, because what we are liking in most of the cases is most of our people do not know how they can be able to go to the hospital when they are passing blood in the urine, which we term as hematuria. So this training is a challenge to all of us, because it has encompasses all the front runners of the healthcare, the pharmacists, medical doctors, and nurses also, so that we can be able to put our heads together to make sure that people that are coming to the hospital with this particular sign and symptoms will get the better healthcare service delivery.
The workshop is to provide the participants with the knowledge of understanding urinary schistosomiasis, comprehensive training, and diagnosis, management, and prevention of the disease. From Sokoto, Lawal Aliyu, ADBN News.
You are watching ADBN News at 7. You can now watch us on DSTV channel 258, on StarTimes channel 140, Apple TV app, Linux World TV app, and Niger TV app. For more stories, visit our website on www.adbntv.com. Now stay with us for more stories after this break.
In a world of overwhelming voices where everyone has different opinion on different issues, it is important that we bring the core issue to the fore. Join me, Nancy Bonigo, on Softline as we lend our voices to inform and influence your thoughts and actions. This is not just mere talk, it is an invocative program that touches the core of our existence.
Welcome to the Niger Delta, a region of incredible beauty and stark contrast. From its breathtaking landscapes to its rich cultural heritage, this is a place where history and modernity collide. But beneath this serene surface lies a story of struggle and resilience. The Niger Delta is the lifeblood of Nigeria's economy, home to vast oil reserves that fuel the nation, yet it is a land where the people fight for their share of the wealth. Join us on the program Niger Delta Today as we explore the heart of the Niger Delta, discover the vibrant cultures, the struggles for environmental justice, and the stories of the people who call this place home. This is the Niger Delta, a land of contrast, a story of resilience, a journey of hope. Don't miss our exclusive series, Niger Delta Today, every day at 12 noon, only on ADBN TV. Witness the untold stories, experience the journey, be part of the change.
No matter wetin I see, enough fit make mouth heavy to talk am. That's now why people they talk.
You know wetin dey worry you, but you no go fit take help yourself.
If you are not a judge, you are not a judge.
Make we talk good where we dey see good, and where we know say we not dey see good, make we also dey talk am.
No woman, no mother deserve to know the grave of his child.
The bank manager and the bank executive, they are the one the government should first face.
People They Talk, the show on Monday to Friday by 5 p.m. on top ADBN TV.
You're welcome back. Now let's bring you stories from the Federal Capital Territory. The FCT Police Command has confirmed the arrest of a 30-year-old suspect, Joseph Efe, from Ondo State, in connection with the alleged kidnapping, robbery, and attempted murder of 25-year-old woman Olivia Ijeoma Chukwuemeka from Abia State. The suspect was handed over to the police by the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps after being apprehended on 17 September 2024. Efe is accused of forcefully confining the victim in a room at a hotel in Wuse, reportedly for ritual purposes. The incident, which went viral, showed the victim gagged, with her legs and hands bound with tape. Meanwhile, FCT Police Command say they have launched a discreet investigation into the matter and reiterated its commitment to working with other security agencies to end the crime. In another development, the FCT Police Command has responded to a viral video circulating on social media which claims that officers attempting to extort a motorist allegedly left their walkie-talkie in his vehicle. The FCT Police Public Relations Officer, SP Josephine Ade, disclosed that command takes such allegations seriously, but emphasizes the need for verifying facts before making public accusations. Meanwhile, preliminary checks have revealed that the walkie-talkie in question may be part of a batch of 3 devices that went missing last year in Gwagwalada, reported via the police wireless message on 16 February 2023. SP Ade explained that the command's communications departments confirmed that all currently assigned walkie-talkies in the FCT are accounted for, with no recent reports of missing equipment. The police command therefore urges both the motorist and the program anchor who reported the incident to come forward with any relevant information and the walkie-talkie itself to assist in a thorough investigation. Meanwhile, the Federal Capital Territory Police Command has confirmed that a fire outbreak caused by a collision between a fully loaded tanker carrying petrol and a Toyota Sienna space bus at Imani Roundabout, Maitama, Abuja on the evening of 23rd September 2024 has been successfully contained. The fire, which started around 7:50 p.m., prompted a swift response from police patrol teams from Maitama, Wuse and Central Police Station, alongside operatives from the Federal Fire Service. With their combined efforts, the fire was extinguished and the situation was brought under control. A statement signed by the FCT Police Public Relations Officer, SP Jis Finade, reveals that while no lives were lost, 3 individuals, Mr. Idris Muhammad, Mr. Suleiman Gimba, and Mr. Adamu Ishaku, sustained injuries and were rushed to Maitama District Hospital for treatment. On a sad note, President Bola Tinubu has paid a heartfelt tribute to his elder cousin, Dr. Nahim Din Ade Ekemode, who passed away at the age of 80. The president shared cherished moments from their childhood and honored Dr. Ekemode's contributions as a gynecologist, a profession he practiced for over 5 decades. Dr. Ekemode trained in Egypt, also served as the former chairman of the Lagos State Hospital's Management Board. He praised Dr. Ekemode's compassion as a physician, noting how he touched countless lives throughout his career. Reflecting on Dr. Ekemode's 80th birthday, which was celebrated earlier in the year, President Tinubu expressed sadness but took solace in knowing that his cousin is now at peace, free from pain and suffering. President Tinubu also extended his condolences to the entire family, offering words of comfort. May his soul rest in peace. Amen. You are watching ADBN News at 7. Watch us on DSTV channel 258, on StarTimes channel 140, Avo TV app, Limex World TV app, and Niger TV app. For more stories, visit our website on www.adbntv.com. Stay with us for more stories after this break.
Step into the heartbeat of the world, where news meets real talk. From breakthroughs in diplomacy to humanitarian challenges and scientific milestones, Global Digest takes you beyond the headlines and straight to the heart of the matter. I am Amma Marcus. Be a part of the world unfolding stories at 3 p.m. on ADBN, channel 258 on DSTV, and StarTimes, channel 140. Global Digest, your window to the world's current affairs, only on Advocate Broadcasting Network.
Welcome to the world where innovation meets opportunity, where ideas become empires. This is Market TV.
I am Idorian Flannan, and every week I'll be taking you inside the dynamic world of marketing and commercial business.
From groundbreaking startups to big businesses, Market TV brings you the best pricing and latest goods on display.
It's all about understanding your audience and staying ahead of the trends.
Witness the creative processes that drive the various brands.
Join us as we dive deep into the strategies that shape the commercial landscape. From streets to traditional advertising and social media, we cover it all.
Whether you're a seasoned professional or an aspiring entrepreneur, Market TV provides the insights you need to thrive.
This show gave us the tool to turn our vision into reality.
So, if you're ready to master the market, tune into Market TV every Saturday at 6 p.m.
You're welcome and thank you for staying with us. We now move to the foreign scene, starting with Tanzania, where the police say they briefly detained several opposition leaders on Monday, 23rd September 2024, to prevent planned protest in Dar es Salaam against alleged killings and abductions of government critics. Chairman of the main opposition party, Chadema, Mr. Freeman Mbowe, was arrested in public while his deputy, Mr. Tundu Lissu, was taken from his home. Chadema later reported that more party officials, staff, and security personnel were detained, with police also arresting 3 journalists who were covering the demonstrations but were later released. Rights groups have accused President Samia Suluhu Hassan's government of targeting opposition figures ahead of local elections in December and national elections in 2025. However, all 14 individuals arrested have all been released. We now move to the United Kingdom, where the Labour government, led by Prime Minister Keir Starmer, has pledged to rebuild the economy while facing backlash over proposed welfare cuts and concerns about top ministers receiving gifts. During a keynote address at the Labour Party's annual conference in Liverpool, Finance Minister Ms. Rachel Reeves stressed the need for iron discipline in handling the country's finances, citing rising state debt. As the first woman to hold the position of Chancellor of the Exchequer, Ms. Reeves promised her upcoming budgets would foster business investment and drive lasting economic growth. Ms. Reeves reassured workers
We would aim to halve government consultancy spend, and we have already announced savings this year. I pledged that we would cut down on the excesses of Tory ministers' private air travel, and we have already cancelled the £40 million contract for Rishi Sunak's VIP helicopter.
There will be no tax hikes on their salaries, but hinted at other potential tax increases. She also emphasized that Labour would avoid a return to austerity measures seen under Conservative leadership. Meanwhile, the conference was overshadowed by ongoing criticisms of government's decisions to cut fuel benefits for millions of pensioners, sparking outrage from unions. In response, Ms. Reeves acknowledged the challenges ahead, but remained committed to Labour's ambition of rebuilding Britain. Let's now bring you some sports updates. And from Barcelona, goalkeeper and captain Marc-Andre ter Stegen underwent successful knee surgery on Monday after suffering a ruptured patella tendon during a league match on Sunday. The German international was stretched off in the first half after his right knee buckled while he was landing after catching the ball. Although no official timeline has been provided for the 32-year-old's recovery, Spanish media reports suggest he could be sidelined for at least 7 months. Since joining the club in 2014, ter Stegen has made over 400 appearances for the Spanish Giants. And away from Barcelona, let's get to Manchester City, where midfielder Rodri is expected to miss the remainder of the season following tests conducted on Monday morning, which indicated he suffered an anterior cruciate ligament tear in his right knee during Sunday's draw with Arsenal. The Spain international is set for further examinations, but initial findings strongly suggest an ACL tear, and he is likely to undergo surgery in Barcelona. Rodri was substituted in the 21st minute of the match after falling to the ground and clutching his knee, marking his first Premier League start of the season. Rodri is among the front runners for the Ballon d'Or, making this injury a significant setback for Manchester City as they pursue their 5th consecutive Premier League title. And that's it on ADBN News at 7. Remember to watch us live on DSTV channel 258 on StarTimes channel 140, Avo TV app, Limix World TV app, and Niger TV app. For more stories, you can visit our website on www.adbntv.com. You can also watch us live from every part of the world by logging on to www.adbntv.com/live. I am Peace Ogenegbawe, and it's back to Beta Brian for the continuation of Morning Express. Good morning.
Well, thanks for staying with us through our first major news bulletin this morning. Let's give you a lineup of what to expect as we delve into other segments as lined up on our flagship program. Coming up next is a review of headline stories as published across the front pages of the newspapers on our newspaper review segment. We'll be joined by in-house analysts to start the conversation in our studio with the hope that you can also join and lend your thoughts, comments and opinions as it regards issues in the news. Mind you, whilst reacting, do well to get all your facts right, as the headlines are only read according to the editorial guidelines of the various newspapers. At 9 o'clock, we'll treat our broader topic of discussion, and at 10 o'clock, we'll make room to accommodate our Abuja Sports editor to walk us through the return of the Carabao Cup, and of course, other midweek fixtures scheduled to hit the major 5 leagues in Europe. Well, it promises to be an interactive show on the program. Remember to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and on X at ADBN_TV. We're also streaming live on our YouTube channel, on our webpage as well, on www.adbntv.com/live. We'll take a short break, and when we return, we'll delve into our lineup on Morning Express. Please stay tuned.
It is Groovy Mono, aka the Steve Prince.
Yo, what's up? It's Big Shags. I'm in London.
Hey guys, I'm Princess Jekoko. My name is Mutale Mwanza, the Queen of Zambian Media.
My name is Grand Prince Aitek. Hi guys, my name is Baj Adebule. I'm an actor and a filmmaker.
Hello guys, I'm Falagade Banks.
My name is Kelechi Amadiobi, photographer, storyteller.
My name is Nanrade Dura, I'm an actor.
My name is Chidi Mokeme.
Hi, my name is Uche Uba.
It's TV season.
I'm Miss Thames.
Hi ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, moms and papas, I am Jimmy. You can call me the Entertainer.
My name is Esio Dometa. I am an actor and a film producer.
My name is Sobi Kubala.
Hi. My name is Julius the Genius. I would give a shout out to ADBN.
Big shout out to ADBN TV.
You're watching ADBN.
And you are watching.
Keep watching ADBN TV.
And this is ADBN TV.
And this is a shout out to ADBN TV. Keep watching, don't switch the dial.
Shout out to ADBN. Keep watching, love.
And you are watching ADBN TV.
Shout out to ADBN TV.
I've got one thing for you. Make sure you keep watching ADBN TV.
And shout out
to ADBN TV.
Shout out to ADBN TV. Don't touch the dial.
And you're watching
ADBN TV. Keep watching ADBN TV.
And I'm shouting out to ADBN TV.
You're watching ADBN TV.
Keep watching ADBN TV. This is where to be. And you're watching ADBN.
And shout out to
ADBN TV.
And shout out to ADBN TV. Keep watching.
And you're watching ADBN TV.
Keep watching ADBN TV.
Right now you are checking out ADBN TV. One time.
ADBN. Keep watching. I love you and kisses.
Keep watching ADBN.
And a special shout out to ADBN. Keep doing what you're doing, guys. Please don't touch that dial.
Stay groovy.
Mwah.
Hey, Bobby.
Ha!
It's a shout out to ADBN.
ADBN. Advocate Broadcasting Network.
Welcome to the Niger Delta, a region of incredible beauty and stark contrast. From its breathtaking landscapes to its rich cultural heritage, this is a place where history and modernity collide. But beneath this serene surface lies a story of struggle and resilience. The Niger Delta is the lifeblood of Nigeria's economy, home to vast oil reserves that fuel the nation, yet it is a land where the people fight for their share of the wealth. Join us on the program Niger Delta Today as we explore the heart of the Niger Delta, discover the vibrant cultures, the struggles for environmental justice, and the stories of the people who call this place home. This is the Niger Delta, a land of contrast, a story of resilience, a journey of hope. Don't miss our exclusive series, Niger Delta Today, every day at 12 noon, only on ADBN TV. Witness the untold stories, experience the journey, be part of the change.
Welcome to the world where innovation meets opportunity, where ideas become empires. This is Market TV.
I am Idorian Flannan, and every week I'll be taking you inside the dynamic world of marketing and commercial business.
From groundbreaking startups to big businesses, Market TV brings you the best pricing and latest goods on display.
It's all about understanding your audience and staying ahead of the trends.
Witness the creative processes that drive the various brands.
Join us as we dive deep into the strategies that shape the commercial landscape. From streets to traditional advertising and social media, we cover it all.
Whether you're a seasoned professional or an aspiring entrepreneur, Market TV provides the insights you need to thrive.
This show gave us the tool to turn our vision into reality.
So, if you're ready to master the market, tune into Market TV every Saturday at 6 p.m.
No matter wetin I see, enough fit make mouth heavy to talk am. That's now why people dey talk.
You know wetin dey worry you, but you no go fit take help yourself.
In this kind of situation now, what if they really no talk to una? Wetin be the way forward?
They go bury our chairman on Thursday. We go remain here.
Make we talk good where we dey see good, and where we know say we no dey see good, make we also dey talk am.
No woman, no mother deserve to know the grave of his child.
The bank manager, the bank executive, they are the one the government should first face.
People They Talk, the show on Monday to Friday by 5 p.m. on top ADBN TV.
Step into the heartbeat of the world where news meets real talk. From breakthroughs in diplomacy to humanitarian challenges and scientific milestones, Global Digest takes you beyond the headlines and straight to the heart of the matter. I am Amma Marcus. Be a part of the world unfolding stories at 3 p.m. on ADBN, channel 258 on DSTV, and Star Times, channel 140. Global Digest, your window to the world's current affairs, only on Advocate Broadcasting Network.
In a world of overwhelming voices where everyone has different opinion on different issues, it is important that we bring the core issue to the fore. Join me, Nancy Banigo, on Softline as we lend our voices to inform and influence your thoughts and actions. This is not just mere talk, it is an invocative program that touches the core of our existence.
Welcome to the Niger Delta, a region of incredible beauty and stark contrast. From its breathtaking landscapes to its rich cultural heritage, this is a place where history and modernity collide. But beneath this serene surface lies a story of struggle and resilience. The Niger Delta is the lifeblood of Nigeria's economy, home to vast oil reserves that fuel the nation, yet it is a land where the people fight for their share of the wealth. Join us on the program Niger Delta Today as we explore the heart of the Niger Delta, discover the vibrant cultures, the struggles for environmental justice, and the stories of the people who call this place home. This is the Niger Delta, a land of contrast, a story of resilience, a journey of hope. Don't miss our exclusive series, Niger Delta Today, every day at 12 noon, only on ADBN TV. Witness the untold stories, experience the journey, be part of the change.
Well, thanks for staying with us on the program this morning as we look to begin a review of headline stories as published by the various dailies. On our newspaper review segment this morning, we'll also be joined by a guest analyst, Mr. Adefolari Olamilekan will be joining us shortly. But let's give you an overview of the newspapers this morning. Now, following the conclusion of the 21st of September off-cycle elections in Edo State, mixed reactions continue to greet the outcome. The Federal Executive Council meeting with President Bola Ahmed Tinubu praised the conduct of the election as being violence-free. However, some elections observers, the likes of Yaga Africa, have alleged some sort of manipulations in certain polls, as the People's Democratic Party PDP is also kicking against the results. Now, more than half a dozen newspapers have this story as captured as their head stories. Now, we'll start with the Daily Sun. We'll take a look at the Daily Independent, the Daily Times, the Blueprint, the Nigerian Tribune, First News, and the Daily News Hub as well, all of which have similarities as regards this headline story. Let's pick them up as they greet your screen and just remind you about the headline publications. Now, on the front page of the Daily Sun, you'd find the lead story. FEC praises Edo Guber as PDP governors, Obi alleged electoral heist. CDD, Yaga score INEC low, LP candidates allege vote buying, falsification of results, apathy. Now, and above that, you have inserted beneath the masthead, APC would use Edo templates to win Ondo, Anambra Guber polls, says Ganduje. Besides the masthead, UN General Assembly 79, Nigeria demands UN Security Council seat as governors seek investor support in energy sectors, others. Now, in crossing over to the front page story on the Daily Independent, Edo Guber poll results were manipulated, says Yaga Africa. PDP heads to court, says nation's democracy under threat. We lost to power of money bags buying votes, says Akpata. We will use Edo template in Ondo, Anambra, says Ganduje. Peter Obi describes outcome of Edo polls as state capture. FEC okays committee to reassess Alaudam others across Nigeria. On the rider, flood-prone areas, FG asks Benue, Adama, Taraba, others to relocate residents. Now let's pick up two more papers as well with a similarity in these headline stories as we cross over to the Daily Times and Blueprint. On the Daily Times this morning, much like you'd found on the first two, the headline story reads, PDP rejects Edo governorship election result, threatens court action, asks INEC to review results within stipulated period, declares Ighodalo winner. Obaseki appeals for calm as Akpata alleges falsification of results. Edo Guber polls failed integrity tests, says Yaga Africa. On the right of the Daily Times, flooding. FEC sets up technical committees to review all existing dams in Nigeria. Mandates Wike to construct Judges' Quarter in FCT. Now on the Blueprint, you'd find prominently captured beneath the masthead two stories. And much like the Daily Times, you'd find central on that front page, Edo Guber, we will retrieve our stolen mandate in court, PDP vows. Our approach was knowledge-driven, APC replies. FEC hails Okpebholo's victory. Above which you'd find Nigeria at hunger 79. With 200,000 troops in 41 nations, we deserve UN security seats, says Nigeria. Troops kill 8 terrorists, rescue 16 hostages. Another feature story is captured on the front page. Now, up next is the Nigerian Tribune and the First News. On the Nigerian Tribune, more reports as regards the Edo Guber polls as well, as the headline reads, more knocks on conduct of Edo Guber. Election failed integrity test, says Yaga Africa. PDP rejects results, calls for review. Okpebholo's victory implicates confidence in Tinubu's renewed hope agenda, says the APC. Election continuation of gross undermining of nation's democratic process, says Obi. My aspirations never about power but to serve, says Ighodalo. Labour Party candidate Akpata says vote Vote buying results falsification characterized polls. APCL requests Beavers generated accreditation data from INEC. And on the front page of the first newspaper, Edo Guba election fallout. My mandate was brazenly stolen. Edo's will trampled, says Ighodalo. I'll take that again. Edo Guba election fallout. My mandate was brazenly stolen. Edo's will trampled, says Ighodalo. LP Akpata election went to the highest bidder. Yaga Africa poll failed integrity test. Peter Obi state capture threatens democracy. Ganduje Obaseke's do or die remark cost Ighodalo's defeat. PDP results rejects results, sues APC. Now, joining us before we have more newspapers greeting the discourse is our in-house analyst for today, Mr. Adefolari Olamilekon. Good morning to you, sir.
Thanks for having me. A very good morning to all our viewers out there.
Now, a right place to begin with is the back and forth counter accusations, allegations, results, manipulations as alleged by Yaga Africa. What do you make following the outcome of the Edo Guba polls? It was indeed violence-free. The Federal Executive Council has well noted that. But the challenge is as it concerns the position of the political actors who were on the ballot as well.
We should expect political actors to be on a mixed reaction. We should also expect election observers to also be on a mixed reaction. And for me, it's about we understanding the nature and character of election in Nigeria. Until we begin to understand the nature and character of election in Nigeria, deal with three major issues. One, financial inducement of voters, the do-or-die affairs expressed by politicians, and the biased activities of individual and stakeholders in the election process in Nigeria. We can't rule that out because every stakeholder that you see have an interest. Either you are an election observer, whether you're politicians, whether you are standing from the media ownership point of view, you have a stake to protect, and that's why the nature and character of election in Nigeria always expresses. So we always find this mixed reaction coming from people who have interest or who have a subsector interest in a particular state when it comes to election. For instance, the political parties that are complaining about losing the election. I take a deep reflection, a deep analysis of the whole issue. How did Governor Obaseki become a PDP member? And how did he turn out at the end of the day becoming a PDP member? Many people have forgotten that the cause of PDP losing a election on Saturday was as a result of the greed associated with Governor Obaseki. The greed to hold on to power and to ensure that all the PDP faithful who helped him to secure PDP nomination were thrown out of that political party. The likes of Dan Obie, the former Edo State PDP chairman, till tomorrow, he's not more a member of PDP at the state level, but he's a member of PDP at national level. And what caused him to be out of that political party at the state level? Because of Obaseke's greed to hold on to power. And not also forget that when Obaseki won the second term of his governorship in 2020, it took him over 6 months to appoint commissioners because he brought in all APC members into PDP and he established them and made them executive of PDP in Edo State. Many people have forgotten that these are the grievance majority of PDP followers had against him that also caused his fallout in the election. And not to forget its abysmal failure. Till tomorrow, nobody can point to what 1 kilometer of road that Obaseki built in 8 years. In terms of infrastructural development, in terms of taking care of the people, apart from the civil servant that is paying 70,000, what other policy initiative or policy tools that Obaseki had in 8 years in Edo State? It's all challenging. Road infrastructure is lacking there. So those are the things I look deeply. Then for APC, we already know that the person that APC presented as the candidate that won the election was also a PDP member. In 2003, he was in House of Rep from 2007 to 2003 to 2011. And he was in PDP until 2020. So he only changed course of cross-carpeting to APC when he discovered that you could not get the senatorial ticket under PDP. And he crossed over. And who cost him that senatorial ticket? It was the same Obaseki. So you can discover that from time immemorial, within the shortest time that Obaseki crossed to PDP, he has caused a lot of damages to PDP at Edo State. So a majority of their stakeholders left that party and went to APC. And they formed majority. And they became strongholders in the APC. And those are the people that struggle with it to the point that in 2023 general election, if a PDP could not present a senatorial candidate and House of Assembly candidate. And that alone caused PDP those damages in the 2024 governorship election that we're talking about. And Okpabolo that we're talking about is a PDP member. And we may not be surprised tomorrow if we jump ship and go back to PDP. Because in 2003 to 2007, it was PDP. Till 2020, it was still in PDP. So it is just the thinking, the strategy that APC used that worked for them. Dennis Idahosa, the deputy governor to Okpabolo, was also a PDP person. And Dennis Idahosa was a very strong candidate in PDP before he crossed over to APC. You can see the strategy that APC used for the election. They brought two strong candidates. If you remember when they conducted their primaries, there was a challenge between one professor that also participated in the governorship primaries, Okpabolo himself, and Dennis Idahosa. And President Tinubu called them together and said, okay, you guys have to work as a team. And two of them stepped down for Okpabolo, and Dennis Idahosa was picked. And these two guys, Okpabolo and Dennis Idahosa, are grassroots politicians. Till tomorrow, most people knows them, and Dennis Idahosa is from the south. Then Okpabolo is from the central. You can see the combination. Meanwhile, who did the PDP pick as their running mate to Ighodalo? They went and picked somebody else, somebody from the central. I mean, from the north of Edo State, that may not have much political weight, like the two grassroots politicians that they picked. I'm just trying to illustrate some of the challenges that brought the defeat of PDP.
Now, whilst you strongly are purporting that the results were hinged on the way Edo people rated the past administration under Governor Godwin Obaseki, some election monitoring teams, the likes of Yaga Africa, are looking at it from the angle of vote buying. We did see the Nigerian police force and officers of the EFCC make several arrests during the conduct of the polls. Many are saying that that might not be as widely blown out of proportion as reported in the margins that it might have affected the outcome of the election. But particularly, it's the action of the PDP, despite these ratings that you're saying, looking to take their case to court. What do you make of this post-election tribunal drama that ensues after most elections in Nigeria?
I think the first thing that most political parties will also cry about, nobody is crying about, I think earlier in the stage of the election, people are saying overvoting. All of a sudden, the issue about overvoting died down. I was surprised that nobody is talking about overvoting again. Then the next thing we are hearing is financial inducement of voters. Then the next thing is manipulation of results. But we know that in court, it's going to be very difficult to prove financial inducement of voters. In court, it's going to be very difficult for you to prove manipulation of results. Get it? And these are the two things that PDP may be taking to court, because right now they are not getting grips of where overvoting was carried out. You get it? Nobody have really pinpoint, okay, there's overvoting in this place, just like in the Kogi election that we saw overvoting happening here and there. But in the Edo election, there is no much trace of overvoting. But what we know that is evidence is that there was inducement. But guess what? The entire political parties induce voters. It's just that the bigger pocket have the day. All of them, both PDP, LP, all of them had financial inducement on voters. But the only thing is that the ones that have the bigger, deep pocket, and the one that the people feel that okay, this could work for us. And not to forget the grassroots political inclusion of Dennis Idahosa and Okpabolo, who are known to be grassroots politicians. You get it? So we must be able to put that in place. But when PDP going to court, and I also ask, which of the PDP is going to court? Is it PDP national or the PDP state?
That's another angle to it. This purported in-house trouble in the People's Democratic Party, PDP, where it seems as though the governors are split across choices in line with the position of the national chairman.
Exactly.
We're looking at some of the rumored moves to sack Damagum. We've seen the likes of Governor Seyi Makinde, Governor Ademola Adeleke throwing their weight behind Damagum and standing behind him. But the likes of their counterparts in Bauchi disagree with the party's position on the national chairman. Do you think this would further affect PDP going into the off-cycle elections in Ondo and Anambra?
Definitely it will. It has already affected them in Edo. You can see how divided they are. You can see the last campaign they did before the election took place. How many of them attended that Grand Rally support campaign for Ighodalo? They didn't go because they are already divided. And the reason why they are divided was that the governor they were going to the state to do the campaign was not attending their meeting. He doesn't come to Wadata House in Abuja here for a PDP expanded meeting with governors. He doesn't attend. You get it? And the reason why he doesn't attend was that he doesn't have a grandstanding to attend, because he chased out all PDP members, all original PDP members in Edo State. He chased them out and replaced them with APC members. So, as far as Edo PDP is concerned, they are more or less that the APC transformed PDP. Many of the people in PDP national, they don't regard them as PDP, because the entire NWC of Edo PDP are not the ones, the original ones are not the ones occupying those seats in Edo State. So that alone have made it so difficult for them. Then other aspect has to do with the issue of who is going to sponsor the court case, because as we speak right now, Obaseki will winding up. So where will the money come from? And PDP National is not interested, because they know that it is still themselves, it is still their man that is occupying Edo State as far as they are concerned. The deputy governor, the main governor, Gadolo, they are all former PDP members. So it is just like it is still our guys that are there. So they will always have a way to throw banter. And that's what Nigerian politics is. As I earlier pointed out when we started, I said we need to understand the nature and character of election in Nigeria. The politicians already understood the game. Forget this rigmarole paparazzi they are doing on media. They already know where their stand is. As far as me, as an analyst, I'm concerned, I know the PDP, the real original PDP in Edo State, they are happy that finally Obaseki has been thrown out, because now they can now go back and take their party and rearrange and re-strategize without Obaseki, because Obaseki holding on to power as governor, and if it has happened that he win the election, he would have still continued to hold on to that power and strangulate the original PDP of Edo State out of power in Edo State. But as it is now, the original PDP members of Edo State are happy that Obaseki, because now he won't be able to have any grit to hold on to the party again, because he has lost. And if he goes to court, the PDP National may not be interested in the case, because it's still their man, it's still their people that are still there.
Now, let me ask you another question before we look at more newspapers this morning, and it's away from the PDP now. The APC at the national level is making strong comments. We've seen comments coming in from the chairman, Dr. Alhaji Abdullahi Ganduje, who says the votes in Edo State are a testament to the APC government at the national. Others are arguing that the results are a reflection of federal might in the presence of the political juggernauts, starting from the number 3 citizen to senators under the APC, who all were in Edo up until the results were announced. For you, do you think it is a reflection of the APC at the national level in terms of its policies in which Edo people thrust to be reflected at the state level, or it is indeed an influence of federal might?
Definitely, we cannot rule out all those factors you have mentioned. Federal might, the strategic input of APC at national level or at their state level, and also the APC taking advantage of the divide and rule that is taking place in PDP. Because we must note that the divide and rule, because as far as PDP is concerned, it is divided. There is a group that hold on and in support of the acting national chairman. There is a group that expected a new change. Convention should be organized, and a new person should come up to power. Just last week, a court has already struck out the northern PDP cohort who wanted Damagu to be removed as acting national chairman and be replaced by someone from the North Central. And the court has said, no, that cannot happen. You can see that it has won in that regard. Now, the federal might will always play in every off-cycle election. We can't rule that out. Either under PDP or under APC or any other political party, federal might will always play, because they will always use the machinery of the state to ensure that they get victory. Although under Buhari, that did not work, because Obaseki won Edo State back-to-back. But we can see that currently it has worked. And how did it work? They took advantage of the divide and rule, or the division within PDP, to win the election. And how did they do that? They co-opt or agree PDP in Edo State into APC. Do you know how many PDP, cross-carpet into APC just few months before the election? A lot of them, in their hundreds. Some even don't want to come out to show themselves. The like of Dan Obi, the former chairman of PDP in Edo State, as far as he's concerned now, and you can see the template of how the election goes, PDP only struggle to win 6 local governments. You can see the contention. A lot of people are not looking at the voting pattern, even though they are saying it is manipulated. But you also need to look at the voting pattern. Look at the areas that APC was able to win overwhelmingly, and look at the areas that PDP contend with them. And that gives credence, because the deputy governor of Edo State, elected the deputy governor, is from Edo South, which comes from the same area of the current governor. And he also wanted to become a governor before. But because it has already been agreed that power must shift to the central. And that's why Idahosa stepped down for Mayor Okpebholo to become. And that really paved her. And Idahosa is a very contentious individual who is a grassroots politician who helped PDP in the past to win election as a grassroots politician before he crossed over to APC. And that also worked for him. You can see the pattern. So that division in PDP really gave APC that opportunity. And now they are taking it to Ondo State too. Because as I speak right now, Ondo PDP is also divided. In Osun State, PDP in Osun State is also divided. You can see that if APC strategically take advantage of this opening within the opposition party, they will always win the election because they will coerce the members who are aggrieved to themselves, and they give the opportunity to even go for the election. Because one of the good things that APC did, which I look at, which was very strategic, was that Okpebholo was a very popular candidate as a House of Reps member because of his grassroots politics that he played. Then they also had the same thing, and they coerced them. The real APC candidate who contested the primaries, they didn't allow them to go, even though they are from the central. You get it? So they know that these are the things that work for them, and they're also taking it to Ondo State also, and that could also work for me. And if they go to Osun State, it could also work for them, including Anambra, that's also coming in some few months. Because in Anambra too, as we speak right now, PDP is nowhere to be found. It's just APGA, and there is also challenge in that place. So they may also take advantage of that to win election come. But the other thing we also need to look at is what Iyaga is saying through their, they call it process voters result for integrity transparency test, which they claim that about 3 local government, Oredo local government, Ekwoboyi local government, as well as Ego local government, that they had issues, that there are 300 observers they sent out who collated results from that particular local government. What they give, the feedback data they give them was different from what was announced by INEC. And they said that, like for instance, the 30,000 votes that APC got in Oredo, the 11,000 votes that what they call it, PDP got in Esan West, as well as the Ekwoboyi vote that LP got, that there was discrepancy in those figures, and INEC need to look into it. But the question that people now ask is that Iyaga didn't use machine, didn't use robot to collect those data. They also use human being. What about if their observers also were not too factual, not too correct in the data they are receiving? Because those are the questions we need to also put, because they are all humans. And the entire 300 observers that they sent out, majority of them are from Edo State. And we also know how politics is being played locally. People who have sympathy for a particular political party and use the opportunity to also do injustice to the data it's collecting. So those are the issues. But we cannot throw away what they have said, and which is a question to INEC and a resolution that INEC need to attend to. Although they also ask that the Electoral Act need to be looked at. And National Assembly must look at how we can have electronic transmission of results, although not electronic voting, because people are confusing electronic voting with electronic transmission of results. What they're asking, electronic transmission, that as people are casting their vote, it can be electronic transmitted immediately. As I'm punching my whatever I'm doing to vote, the result is transmitted electronically, and that's what they're asking for.
Well, let's look at more newspapers. It's been a great projection and conversation with the analysis coming from Mr. Adefolari Olamilekon. More newspapers this morning still reporting situations in the Edo Gubo elections and the outcome as perceived by the opposition parties and election observers are captured on the Punch newspaper, the Matrix and the Vanguard. Now let's look at these 3 papers again and would look at more newspapers greeting our discussion this morning. On the Punch newspaper, you'd find the lead story beneath the masthead with the catchphrase, Edo poll, PDP demands fresh coalition as LP Akpata alleges fraud. PDP demands fresh coalition as LP Akpata alleges fraud. Inserted beneath that, you'd find prominent pictures of the Federal Executive Council meeting as chaired by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Well, straplines greeting the headline story on the Punch read, INEC must abide by Section 65 of Electoral Act 2022, says Damagun. Poll was a transaction, not election, says Labour Party. On the Matrix newspaper, you'd find the headline story, condemnation, outrage trail Edo Guber results. Edo election failed integrity tests, witnessed widespread result manipulation, says Yaga. Igodalo breaks silence, says our mandate was stolen. PDP heads to court. Obi Akpata condemn election outcome. Bimon 20% voters turnout. Now above the headline, flooding, FEC swings into action, unveils multi-pronged strategies. Elumelu to chair disaster relief fund committee. Utsev technical committee to assess dams. US expressed deep concerns, offers support. And above the masthead, FG proposes stabilization bill to improve economy. Now away from these two papers, let's look at more newspapers. We'll first look at the Vanguard and then also look at This Day newspaper. But let's begin with the Vanguard newspaper this morning before we cross over to This Day. On Vanguard, you'd see the headline, Edo will meet APC, INEC in court to retrieve mandates. Will meet APC, INEC in court to retrieve mandates, says PDP. Says result unacceptable. Adds APC PDP poll transactional, not election. FEC, Oyebanji, Sanwo-Olu, Abiodun, Ayedatiwa, Ododo, others greet Okpebolo. It was tape caption, not election, says Obi. Lawyers' forensic analysis will determine my next move, says Akpata. Now let's also pick up This Day. On This Day newspaper, you'd find beneath the masthead, Ganduje greets Okpebolo, says APC will recover more states. Sanwo-Olu, Uzodinma, Abiodun, Ododo, Southern senators, others congratulate winner. CSOs, Edo Guber results altered, lacks legitimacy. PDP to head to court, calls Mountain INEC to review results. Igodalo, it is one of our darkest moments. Obi election, a mockery of democracy. Exercise marred by votes buying, falsification of results. Now, this continues to be one of the widespread headlines, but let's also look at some of the issues as raised. The Labour Party failing to win any out of the 18 local government areas in Edo State have cited voter apathy. They say the voter turnout was just about 20%. Many ask the question of if that was in any way affected by the failure of the PDP to sign the peace accord, although there was no violence. Did the voters perceive that the polls were going to be violent, and is that why we're having only 20% voter turnout? On the other hand, on the part of the electoral umpire INEC, would there be a need to review the results, particularly in those 3 local government areas where some discrepancies were noted?
I think the discrepancy fall on each of the political party. The 30,000 naira that Yaga said that may not be correct for APC, and the 11,000 that was also said that may not be correct for PDP, and the one that they also talk about Labour Party. All the 3 political parties that were contesting the election, all of them have issues that the Yaga pointed out. But going forward is for me to quickly point out that for Labour Party, they should know that the election for their candidate lost because of the candidate they presented. Edo people have already spoken that the Edo governorship for 2024 goes to the central, not to south-south, to the south of Edo again. So the Labour Party is supposed to have understood that from the beginning and presented a credible candidate that could have been a force to APC and PDP. Instead of providing a candidate that was already out of the calculation of Edo people for that election. So for me, it was their own fault. And if anybody says it's transactional, they also participated in transactional. Who said Labour did not also carry out inducement? Though they can carry out inducement in several ways, not unnecessarily financial inducement that has been alleged on the other 2 political parties. They also carry out inducement, giving people t-shirt, giving people face cap. Is it not inducement? So we must also be able to understand that. But for me, why they Labour lost was because of the candidate they presented. They would have followed the minds, the feelings of Edo people that this time around power shift to the center and look for a credible candidate at the center to contest for the election, not to go and look for another candidate from the south, which Akpata is from, to contest for the election. And that's how they lost. Then in terms of the 20% voter turnout, it is always like that. Off-season election will always be like that. Not just off-season election, any election in Nigeria, because the mindset of people that you see that go and go for registration for voter card, everybody is not getting a voter's card necessary to contest for election. They are getting it for other purposes, which can help them to help their life. So we must understand that. And as I earlier pointed out when we started, I said the nature and character of election in Nigeria have made some of us to understand that when election comes, we know what the politicians will do. We know what the stakeholders will also do. But the result will always come with mixed reaction, particularly from the loser and particularly from the winner, because all of them will always have one reaction or the other to paint. But the thing is that, as we speak right now, contending for the election in court is expected, and we expect the both parties who will go and fight for it in the court to go. But it's going to be very difficult to prove election loss in the court, particularly when you go and cite issues that doesn't have to be taken care of by electoral act or by the constitution. So I'm not expecting PDP to go and begin to cite issue of certificate or no certificate, because yesterday we saw on social media people started saying Okwobolo did not go to school, and some people say he went to University of Benin, some people say he went to University of Abuja, some people say he has a PhD. So that should not be the issue. And one plain fact about this election was that there was no violence. So nobody can go to court and begin to say there was violence, although there was a minute issues at two local government collusion center of Edo and Ego, as well as Okpobiri, because of when the issue started, then INEC now said, okay, instead of doing the collusion here at the local government headquarters, take it to the state office, and that's why it was done. You get it? And that was one of the reasons why many people are saying, okay, that could be where manipulation could have started. But for the Labour Party, they should know that the failure of the party in this election was their fault. They presented a wrong candidate for the governorship election in Edo State.
Now, whilst we're tempted to dwell solely on the reactions and publications as captured in line with the conclusion of the Edo Gube elections and the tantrums being thrown by political actors who felt aggrieved by the results, other issues in the news of national concern also are captured on the front page of the New Telegraph. On the New Telegraph this morning, it is as the federal government moves to mitigate the effects of flooding by setting up a technical committee now saddled with the responsibility of reassessing the states of dams nationwide. And this is with the allegations as thrown by some quarters of the media as a result of the cause of the flooding in Borno, which has been blamed on the Alao Dam. Now, this morning, published on the front page of the New Telegraph, you'd find the lead story in that regard. Let's pick it up together now, shall we? On the New Telegraph, you'd find the lead story, flooding, FEC sets up committee to reassess, Alao Dam, others, floats disaster relief fund. Flooding, FEC sets up committee to reassess Alao Dam, others, floats disaster relief fund. Now, more on the straplines beneath this story on the New Telegraph this morning, you'd find, captured beneath the headline, government advises residents of flood-prone areas to leave as River Benue water level rises to 0.9 meters. U.S. offers support to 67,000 flood victims in Borno as EU okays 5.4 million euros to aid victims in Nigeria, other countries. Now, above that, you'd find previous administration never thought it wise to develop FCT satellite towns, says Wike. Reoccurring building collapse monumental, economic losses to the nation's GDP growth, says LCCI. Court dismisses suit seeking Ganduje sack as APC chair. FG approves National Citizens Value Brigade in schools, national symbols standardization. These are the prominent pictures as captured on the front page of the New Telegraph. Now, the challenge here, as we look at this development in terms of the response, with the Federal Executive Council now setting up a technical committee to review the dams, is also coming with another warning of the release from the Lagdo Dam in Cameroon.
Exactly.
Are you satisfied with the approach as taken by the Federal Executive Council?
Although many of us have said this is coming very late. You know, such technical committee would have been set up beginning of the year or when the government came in last year. The 2022 flood was very massive. You know, the 2012 as well as 2018 flood was also massive. A report of such nature would have been reviewed by the government and action would have been taken at the beginning of this year, not now. But although it's not too late, a review of those dams across the country, there are over 184 dams in Nigeria. either major dams or mini or micro dams across the country. So it's all owned by the federal government, except some state in Southwest that owns dams. So we expect them to review those dams and see the challenges that those dams have faced. And for me, I don't see those dams having more challenges as expected, because what has become their challenge is just the maintenance, the usefulness of those dams. Some of them are not being put to use. You get it? So maybe the technical committee will look at how they can be put to use, particularly for agriculture and food production purposes and storing of water. Then for they also say the relief fund committee also be put together also, which is quite encouraging. But we just hope that it will not look like the COVID-19 committee that was put together, that today nobody can really tell us how much was realized, how much was spent, and where are the balance of the money that was spent on COVID-19 exercise during the Buhari administration. Because a committee of such nature like this was also put together, and till now, till tomorrow, nobody can tell us how much they collected and how much they spent. And they're also pushing and mounting someone, a very popular individual, a former banker, to become just the way they did for the other COVID-19 by appointing Dangote as the chairman of that particular. And even Tolumilu was also part of that committee then. Till now, nobody have told us how much was spent, how much was left in that committee of COVID-19. But we are just trying to sound very interesting to them, so that they know that as much as we are concerned, money will come in. I want to know how much was used. I think it was yesterday I was going to a report that in Borno State, for example, over 13 billion was promised for victim of Borno flooding. And what was realized so far has been just 4.8 billion. A lot of money is still expected. And I asked those people putting those reports, I said, even these 4 billion that have been realized, people should follow up on those money and see how they are being used for those projects that have been outlined. Because a lot of individuals are also doing one or two things. And as we speak right now, the flooding area in Maiduguri have receded. You know, most of the area, although the people need so-called, maybe some building will need to be pulled down and rebuilt and the rest of them.
There's also challenges of waterborne diseases associated with the flooding that a lot of foreign organizations are quite concerned about.
Exactly. And they are doing one or two things in that regard, donating, contributing one or two. But the concern is that after contributing and putting all this money together for these people, we just want accountability and transparency at the end of the day.
Now talking about this accountability and transparency as well sought by millions of Nigerians in regards to how we manage disaster. Now, my concern, I don't know if you share the same sentiment, is the difference now between what will constitute the disaster relief fund and the earlier provided for ecological fund.
I think they are different. Ecological fund is constitutional.
Now, my own is on the transparency and accountability in the use of the funds.
Definitely.
While a lot of persons are not too certain on how the ecological fund has been dispersed over time,
years, yes.
Now we're talking about a disaster relief fund, side by side, a provision earlier made for ecological fund to address issues affecting our eco and climate system.
Now, for instance, the ecological fund is not meant to be buying mattresses for people. It's not meant to be buying noodles, spaghetti, rice, beans for people and be sharing. No. Ecological fund is to address infrastructural gap within an area that's been affected by erosion or any other climate issue or natural disaster issue that occur as a result of maybe flooding or as a result of landsliding or something that or earthquake. You get it? So it has to do with something that affects the ground. So in this nature now, ecological fund is supposed to address issue of pavement, some infrastructural issues, particularly drainages, because one of the things that cause erosion around Nigeria is lack of drainages and maintenance of drainages. Water channels that could be well proven, well maintained. So ecological fund is supposed to be taking care of those areas and be able to construct, community road, feeder community road that will take care of areas that are lacking some accessible roads. Those are the things that ecological fund is supposed to be doing, and it has been lacking because the governors are pocketing the money and using for other things. Now, the relief fund we are talking about is to cater for health issues, nutritional issues, as well as some social welfare package of the people, like giving them so-called in terms of rebuilding their houses, getting them some clothing, getting them some food, rebuilding schools, and some health facilities. Those are what the relief fund will do, not to go and do what the ecological fund is meant to do. And it's not going to be used for construction of roads or drainages. Because that's the way I understand the relief fund will definitely take care of. Particularly business people who have lost their businesses, they'll get some cash transfer from that angle.
Now the challenges now with this advisory is issued by the federal government to states owing to a rise in the water level in River Benue by 0.9 meters. The challenge is, where do we relocate them to? Are there provisional shelters or buildings other than IDP camps where these persons are expected to relocate to? That's one. On the other hand, we've been having this conversation of the need for counter dams to somewhat act as buffers when the Lagdo Dam overflows, or should we have a failure in structural integrity of any of these structures on ground.
Exactly. And very interesting that over the years, I think particularly from 2012, 2018, 2022, 2020 and 2022 flood, as well as the one that we are trying to experience right now in 2024, it has been established that we need to have a shelter for people we are asking to relocate. State governors are supposed to do that. But most times, some of those residents in the area, sometimes they can be reluctant to leave. And because of the negligence of the government to be enforced that relocation, the people stay behind. And again, you also need to understand the nature of the buildings of those houses within that area. A good example is if you are traveling out of Abuja to Lokoja. Now you see that the Confluence River overflows boundary into communities. Then you ask yourself, these communities have been there for years. They are built choice houses. They are built infrastructure that when you ask them to leave those infrastructure, it will be very difficult for them to leave. So the concern is not for people to leave. The concern is to monitor the kind of structure they are putting in that place. Because when someone put a permanent structure that want to stay in a build a house that could last for 100 years, and now water will come, you now ask the person to leave that place for the next 1 month or 2 months. It will be scared. You will say, where will I go? So the issue is that we should monitor those structures that are being built across river bank. You get it? And that will help us to be able to mitigate some of these challenges. Then on the other hand, whereby the Cameroonian dam will be open and water will flow in, the safeguarding alternative to also buffer that area has been said over time to be built. But what is the government doing about it? They are not too serious. There have been argument and counter argument that there was nothing like that. And there was a particular dam in Adamawa that was supposed to be built since 1973. Till today, that dam has not been built. The land is there. The signboard has been put. They renewed the signboard, but they are not building the dam. So we need to call the government to order that even if it's not going to be possible to build it in Adamawa, is there another possible state that dam could be built? And again, these other 180 something dams are available. What can we do to allow those dams to maintain and to access those water that are coming from the Lagdo Dam in Cameroon? Because that is also very important. And one thing I've discovered was that why the government is not very serious about building new dams is because there are over 184 of them, and nobody's maintaining them. And budget allocation are pushed to them, but nobody is caring about those dams. Maybe that's why the government is not too forthcoming in building a new dam, because over 184 dams, what are we doing with them? And that called to question why the new government, the technical committee that are formed, those technical committees should go and review those dams and see how useful they could be at this point in time that we have found ourselves as a nation.
Now let's accommodate more newspapers greeting our discourse this morning and crossing over to the front page of the Daily Trust newspaper. The headline story is on the controversial Samoa agreement, and an ombudsman that is advising the editorial team of Daily Trust to issue an apology for the misinformation as earlier reported when the agreement was signed in terms of the implications bordering on LGBTQ promotions, which was not the case. Now we'll find that headline story on the Daily Trust with the catchphrase Samoa agreement. Ombudsman asks Daily Trust to apologize, says newspaper story inaccurate. FG's handling poor, praises complaints, respondents for voluntary submission. Beneath that you'd find more feature stories to your left. Bandit leader Kachala Sharme killed in gang clash in Kaduna. FG to establish National Citizens Value Brigade in schools. Conflict of interest stalling constituency project, says EFCC ICPC. On the rider, a big story of concern that we're looking at as we react to these stories is despite efforts to eradicate polio in Nigeria, 70 polio variants recorded in 14 northern states, says the federal government. Let's get your reactions to some of the stories. How alarming is it that despite investments, vaccine rollout, the drive to eradicate polio, not one but 70 new variants of polio recorded, particularly in the northern states, 14 of them.
It is sad, you know, the awareness, the sensitization, the education and information is still going, but it seems that the effort of the government is still being watered down as a result of what could be regarded to the lack of interest by some parents, lack of interest by some families, lack of interest by some individuals, because even though the government have made a lot of noise around vaccination, eradication, but people are still yet to be conscientized on whether to push themselves forward to collect those vaccines. And we still need to do more. What this is telling us that the effort of government need to be strengthened more. What we need to strengthen government effort to ensure that this information is passed to the people and people have received this information and not just buy into it. Because one thing we must also look at is that are the people even really buying into these agencies of government in terms of getting their children to be vaccinated and the rest of them? Because when people are not buying into a government policy, it becomes a challenge. And that's what we are facing in the north. Although the religious group has also spoken around this, engaged themselves around this, and they have already accepted. But what goes down to the people? Or should we take the same framework that we use in the family pre-health issues, in the what they call it, pre-health issue that we use for a pregnant woman to also do for the eradication of vaccine or whatever we're talking about right now? It's very important for us to take advantage of.
Now, moving forward to other issues in the news, despite the concerns on the health of Nigerians and 70 new polio variants discovered in 14 northern states, we'll move on to other newspapers of concern this morning. And from the business perspective, let's look at the publication on the front page of the Business Day. On the Business Day this morning, you'd find the lead story: Finance Ministry, Customs Bureaucracy stalls zero tariff food importation. Finance Ministry, Custom Bureaucracy stalls zero tariff food importation. Now, the government of the day, in order to ensure food security in Nigeria, moved to impose zero tariff duties on food importation of certain commodities. And over time, we've talked about how much this either hampers or improves our over-dependence on importation.
Exactly.
But beyond that, now we're seeing certain bureaucratic hurdles at the Ministry of Finance and Customs that is said to be stalling this project.
Definitely, we should expect that. You know, the bureaucracy of government wheel is very slow in motion, and we should expect that. File from one table to the other table to the next table before you get to the CEO or the GO or whoever that is in charge of that organization. It will always be there. And you know, what I was expecting, that a committee would have been formed or put together to handle this particular urgency in the economy, not allowing custom to take over and stall it the way the newspaper is putting it out. Because government means well for the people by allowing food to be imported, but the bureaucracy of government is stalling it by making it so slow, like a slow motion, by retarding the effort of government. And this could be a challenge. And by the time all this gets through now, the 3 months expire in January, we are in September, October, November, December. By the time the people end up bringing those food, it will be a different story. Maybe by that time they will not say, okay, it has expired, or whatever they have done has expired. Now the price will not change. Then how has government achieved its goal? So what I'm trying to call up for is that government should see how they can strategize and ensure that the people who are in charge are following the details of what the government really wants. Because there's one direction from the presidency, there's another direction from the Ministry of Finance, there's another direction from the CG of Custom, and the head of organization in Custom, what they are doing is also, there's another different direction. Because when these directions are not working in unison, definitely there will be a storming, and that storming is what we are facing right now. I will just hope that they can quickly be amended and importers can bring the food, and Nigerians can have a relief of cheaper food and accessible food that are less tariff from government angle.
But the challenge now is, does the solution to our food insecurity issues lie solely on zero tariff on food importations?
Although we have said it, not just tariff alone, we have said it that importation of food is not the sole way of ensuring that we have a cheaper and affordable food. Government need to go into productivity of food itself, and government have been shying away. I've said it on this platform that the core number one food producer should be the government. Having farm settlement and farm estate everywhere, what are they doing with it? So importation of food, although they have said it's a short gap measure to ensure that this food comes in within this 150 days or 160 days or 180 days, then people can have access to maize, rice, and millet and the rest of them. But we can see that the bureaucracy of government that has always been a challenge to government policy implementation has come to play its own role. And what is the role? Stalling the implementation of that policy, trying to hinder it or militate against it not to work. And government need to come out and correct it. So, as I earlier pointed out, is that this kind of policy would have been a committee to handle it, not leaving it in the hand of custom, because they will always play their bureaucratic bottleneck angle. What about if they're trying to hinder a particular importer, trying to collect kickback, or trying to show one or two hindrances to that person not to be able to fulfill his own obligation? Those are the things that the newspaper is trying to point out. But we just hope that government can take active action against this. But the best would have been that a committee would have been formed to handle this policy of government in terms of food importation, not leaving it in the hand of custom.
Now, despite announcements on July 15, with the period slated to last from the date of announcement to the 21st of December 2024, the Business Day newspaper this Tuesday does report that the Federal Ministry of Finance and the Nigerian Customs Service red tape is stalling the takeoff of a 2-month intervention to help with the rising cost of food commodities in the market. This initiative is yet to take off despite a zero tariff on food importation. Now, whilst that is the case, there has also been reports from the NBS that there has been a slight decline in inflation, with headline inflation pegged at 32.15% for the month of August. However, there has been an astronomical rise in the cost of food items in the markets. Now, particularly, there has been a report on an increase in the cost of cooking gas in the market, which is said to have skyrocketed by 40%. Now, this is one of the market surveys that over time you as an individual has taken much interest in monitoring the prices of goods in the market. What would you have to say in line with the failure of this initiative to take off and the attendant results we're seeing in the market on food items and the cost of cooking gas?
And one thing we must first know is that the importation of those food, majority of them, we're expecting them to come through the sea. We also expect large of them to also come through the border road. You get it? Now, the ones that are coming through the sea, like fish, like maize, like rice, it may take 2 months before a ship coming from India, from all those areas we normally bring rice, maize to come into the country. So that could also play a role in that delay. Then the ones that are coming to our neighboring countries in Chad, Mali, and the rest of, we expect those ones to be coming in, speedily. Then you talk about gas. I've still talked a lot about gas, and gas is one of those international commodities that this period is the period of heightened price of gas, because this is the period that most European countries normally store gas for the winter season. So we should expect a high cost of price of gas in Nigeria. And not to forget that we also produce gas in Nigeria, but we export about 70% of it out. They will only give about 30 to 40% of it to local consumption. And we're also importing gas. So the international pricing of this commodity make it to be very expensive as we speak. So we should expect that the season of gas, whereby the price of gas will be going up, we are gradually entering that season. Between now and December, you see that the price of gas will go very high, because this is the season whereby gas is mostly used for heat in Europe and America. So the price will definitely go up.
Now, as we note that this is indeed factual, the concern is that in the Niger Delta and in areas where oil exploration is ongoing in Nigeria, we continue to flare off our gas. The federal government had talked about the mass amounts of gas reserved in several cubic meters, feet that we need to tap into. But it almost feels as though the political will, would I say, hasn't evidently translated into these reforms that we need, so that we do not once again fall back on depending on importation.
I think there is something we need to also recall. Last year, the NNPC and the other agencies of government in the area of gas awarded over 49 bids to 49 gas exploring companies. 49 of them collected the bid, paid for the bid, and they have been given opportunity to go and take advantage of those flaring gas. What has happened? Although it may take time before they build their project and the rest of them. So we expect them to start coming up with news about, report about what they have done so far in this gas flaring, how many refining gas stations have been able to build. So we're expecting that to happen. So for now, we are not seeing any result in that regard. So we just hope that this will work for the government, because they're already giving opportunity for people to invest in the gas area. But how manifesting at this particular project is where the challenge is. Although the government have tried its own part, but we just hope that the key aspect of it is that how NNLG can also give more of its gas to domestic consumption. Because that's the main area. Because they are the only one producing gas right now. The other 49 I mentioned, they are still building their project. So as far as NNLG is concerned, it's interested in international export of those gas. So if local consumption is also getting high, we need to augment it through domestic production that NNergy is doing. But other importation of it also is not working because a lot of people are spending money in importation, which is not so giving them the right price of their goods. So we just hope that NNergy can give local consumption higher percentage of what they are producing, and that will help us to subdue the high price of gas that we are experiencing.
Now let's just inform you about what the market survey is saying as it concerns a purported 69.15% increase in the cost of liquefied petroleum gas, otherwise known as cooking gas. The average retail price of refilling a 12.5 kg cylinder of liquefied petroleum gas, otherwise known as cooking gas, as of the month of August 2023 was 9,194 naira. But on a year-on-year basis, as of August 2024, that amount is 15,552 naira. And more worrying is the fact that even in Niger Delta states, this price hike is quite alarming, with the report stating that it will cost above 16,500 naira to refuel a 12.5 kg cooking gas. Now, responding to this development on our social media page, a certain viewer, Goodness Udo, is reacting. She says it is 60k in Lagos. I had to opt for 6 kg, which is 35,000 naira in Aja Market 3 weeks ago. Well, quite alarming, the situation of things as regards prices of goods in the markets. And whilst this is a case study on LPG, the challenge is on the delay in takeoff of the zero imports on food, which has been announced by the president in the month of July and up until now has failed to take off. Now let's look at one more local newspaper, and we'll look at the front page of The Guardian this morning. On The Guardian this morning, the report is on the number of NGOs in the country, quite increasingly, and whilst it is non-profit business, it's on the impact it is having in society, which is the case study on The Guardian. On The Guardian this morning, you'd find the lead story with the catchphrase, "Low profit businesses amid low impact, over 174,100 new NGOs established in 4 years. Over 5.1 million registered entities are in Nigeria. Only 20% of registered entities pay annual returns. Millions of volunteers are in NGOs." Now, it also goes further to give a breakdown of the infographics accompanying the discussion, as it says NGOs are able to source millions of dollars in fundings to support a cause. As of 2019, registered non-profit organizations were numbered at 91,117. Business names, 261,484. Incorporated trustees, including NGOs, 17,177. Now, between 2019 and 2023, the number of registered companies skyrocketed. Now stands at over 2,083,364, while the number of registered business names stands at 2,895,333. Incorporated trustees, including NGOs, 191,278. Wow, quite the shocking statistics.
Exactly. You know, one thing about NGOs is that we need to understand their functionality and operation. There are NGOs that we also regard as CBOs and CSOs in regards, like, for example, like my own organization is into research and think tank and policy advisory. So many people will not see our impact, but definitely people in policy makers, media, people who are engaged in government may also see what we are doing. But ordinarily, you may not see because we're only into research and policy advisory. Now, there are NGOs that people see their impact in the health sector, in the education sector, who carried out relief, like what is happening in Borno State right now. A lot of NGOs are donating. Those are the ones that you see their impact physically. You get it? So most of those ones that you are seeing their impact physically, you don't get to see them often because majority of those also impacted by funding. And majority of the NGOs that you see that are making great impact are foreign NGOs who carried out step-down projects, use local NGOs to also carry out their project, but majority of them are also lacking because most of them also depend on foundation to make more money. So NGOs' operational function is quite different based on what they are doing and what is expected to do. And also, don't want to forget that some of them have influence on locals as well as on government policies, particularly those ones that are into political education and the rest of them. Their influence are quite very alarming, and government normally are very, very careful about such NGOs. So NGOs have different ways of impacting. Those in the health sector, education sector could be seeing their impact physically. But those of us that are in the policy, research, advisory, you may not see what we are doing, but those in policy making could see what we are doing. So that's how we need to understand the impact and function of NGOs.
Well, this is as much as we can take on our local newspaper review. I must appreciate you for coming on board to give your critical analysis as always.
Thanks for having me.
Well, we'll now turn our attention after the break to the publications on foreign tabloids in terms of their headline stories. Well, let's also inform you we're going to be having quite the robust dialogue at 9 a.m. this morning, and it's in line with the need for Nigeria to address the current impact of flood in terms of prevention, response, and relief. We hope to be joined by Dr. Abbas Garba Idris, who is the managing consultant / CEO and pioneer DG, FCT Emergency Management Agency, to share his thoughts on this topic. But in the interim, we'll look at the foreign newspapers and their headlines after this break. Stay with us.
Welcome to the world where innovation meets opportunity, where ideas become empires. This is Market TV.
I am Idorian Flannan, and every week I'll be taking you inside the dynamic world of marketing and commercial business.
From groundbreaking startups to big businesses, Market TV brings you the best pricing and latest goods on display.
It's all about understanding your audience and staying ahead of the trends.
Witness the creative processes that drive the various brands.
Join us as we dive deep into the social media. We cover it all.
Whether you're a seasoned professional or an aspiring entrepreneur, Market TV provides the insights you need to thrive.
This show gave us the tool to turn our vision into reality.
So, if you're ready to master the market, tune into Market TV every Saturday at 6 p.m.
Welcome to the Niger Delta, a region of incredible beauty and stark contrast. From its breathtaking landscapes to its rich cultural heritage, this is a place where history and modernity collide. But beneath this serene surface lies a story of struggle and resilience. The Niger Delta is the lifeblood of Nigeria's economy, home to vast oil reserves that fuel the nation, yet it is a land where the people fight for their share of the wealth. Join us on the program Niger Delta Today as we explore the heart of the Niger Delta, discover the vibrant cultures, the struggles for environmental justice, and the stories of the people who call this place home. This is the Niger Delta, a land of contrast, a story of resilience, a journey of hope. Don't miss our exclusive series, Niger Delta Today, every day at 12 noon, only on ADBN TV. Witness the untold stories, experience the journey, be part of the change.
Step into the heartbeat of the world, where news meets real talk. From breakthroughs in diplomacy to humanitarian challenges and scientific milestones, Global Digest takes you beyond the headlines and straight to the heart of the matter. I am Amma Marcus. Be a part of the world unfolding stories at 3 p.m. on ADBN, channel 258 on DSTV, and Star Times, channel 140. Global Digest, your window to the world's current affairs, only on Advocate Broadcasting Network.
Very well then, welcome back to Morning Express. It's time now for us to give you an overview of the headline stories as published by the foreign newspapers and tabloids on our foreign newspaper review segment. Well, we'll start in the UK this Tuesday morning with quite the interesting stories greeting our discourse. We'll start with the front page of the Daily Express. On the Daily Express this morning, beneath the masthead, you have Vanessa Felth, monstrous, El Fayed tried to frighten me into submission. Beneath which you'd find the headline story, Cowardly Starmer stalls vote on scrapping cruel cut for pensioners. Fury as Labour silences winter fuel pay debate. Now, this is a huge discussion coming in across major headlines this morning. Pensioners are furious, then have also taken a stance with Labour trying to block them for a vote on winter fuel payments ahead of the winter, with dozens of retired union members gathering outside the party's conference yesterday to oppose the decision to axe the lifetime, which has been worth up to £300, with delegates also booing yesterday when the announcements were made faced for a debate. It has also been rocked by a number of protesters hitting the streets to vent their displeasure. Now, on the Daily Mirror, which is our next newspaper of focus this morning, you'd find beneath the masthead some inserted stories, but prominently the catchphrase, Hillsborough Law Pledge, victory for truth and justice, with the exclusive on Labour's new legislation to support victims of cover-ups. Now, away from the Daily Mirror, let's also take a look at the Australian this morning. And on the front page of the Australian, more on discounts on the truth in every aisle is the headline story. Beneath the masthead inserted, you'd find police cleaned Aboriginal people off the streets before VIP visits. A big story of interest making the rounds on the Australian. Away from the Australian, up next is The Guardian. On The Guardian this morning, more reports on the Prime Minister in line of certain restrictions that have been greeted by mixed reactions. The lead story reads, PM vows to end gloom as Labour seeks to lift spending restrictions. PM vows to end gloom as Labour seeks to lift spending restrictions. On the rider, Israeli airstrike kills at least 350 in Lebanon as fears of escalation grow. Moving on to the Financial Times, away from The Guardian this morning, you'd find a similarity in this prominent picture showing the airstrike. Beneath the masthead, as it says, Israel strikes deadly day for Lebanon. Beneath which you'd find a prominent caption, Reeves Stokes borrowing rules debates with signal on higher capital spending. Growth is the challenge, Chancellor says. Optimistic note amid aimed at businesses with winter fuel persists. Away from the Financial Times, the Irish Times is our next focus, a recurrent positioning of this prominent picture, much like you can see on the Financial Times, is also captured on the Irish Times. The caption is slightly different as it reports, hundreds killed as Israel hits Hezbollah target in Lebanon. Hundreds killed as Israel hits Hezbollah target in Lebanon. Flights rerouted after reports of military cargo. Those are the prominent pictures on the Irish Times. Away from the Irish Times, let's visit the front page of the Hindu newspaper. On the Hindu this morning, just one prominent caption, which is Mocha eligible, as you can see. Watching child sex abuse material is an offense, says the CS. And lastly, on the foreign scene this morning, the Wall Street Journal is our final point of call. On the Wall Street Journal, a number of stories of interest. Let's take them from beneath the masthead to the rider as they come. Argentinian leader starts New York visit with a bang. Israeli strikes in Lebanon inflict heavy toll. About 500 reported dead, 1,600 hurt in escalation of attacks against Hezbollah. Fake GPS signals fill cockpits, adding risk for air travel. Federal cuts interest rates too late for many real estate owners. U.S. climate plan falters amid hurdles and resistance. China targets economics after alleged Xi criticism. Well, these are the headline features as captured on the foreign newspapers and tabloids. Be reminded that for a more robust insight into the world around you, do all to join our in-house program, Global Digest, at 3 p.m. for more news on the foreign scene. Well, in coming back to other discussions we're going to have this morning, be reminded that you can also lend your thoughts, comments, and opinions to the conversations, or even more, a situation report. If you are in any of the 31 states that have been earmarked as high-risk areas owing to the increase in flash floodings and rainfalls this year. Well, on the show this morning, it's in the attempt to be joined by the managing consultant / CEO and pioneer DG of the Federal Capital Territory Emergency Management Agency, FEMA, Dr. Abbas Garba Idris, who reportedly is on his way here, but is facing quite the traffic congestion in getting down here. If we do not have him live in our studio, would look to have him joining virtually to help us understand Nigeria's challenges in line with the perennial issues of flood. Now, we look to address the flooding crisis in terms of prevention, if possible, response, and relief. Now, prominently, which we'll be looking at on the show this morning is the situation in Maiduguri, Borno State. Now, the death toll quite on the alarming side, but we hear that over 1 million persons were affected by the floods, and despite several relief and intervention programs, they continue to face a rising risk of waterborne diseases with the likes of diarrhea and cholera, prominently targeting those affected by floods. While there had been relief items airlifted, some victims having to be relocated into IDP camps, there is now 400 million naira, which was budgeted for the Alar Dam in 4 days, needing to be reviewed by a technical committee as set up by the Federal Executive Council meeting yesterday. This would also be looking at in terms of what will be happening in that regard. There is also reports of inmates who had escaped from the correctional center in Maiduguri who are still missing, and this continues to remain a security concern in that state as well. Other related developments as well, which we'll be looking at more in-depthly on the show this morning in terms of what will be happening to the over 414,000 displaced persons, the food shortage, which residents in Maiduguri are also being faced with, and the amounts of money as budgeted in terms of the disaster relief fund, which a lot of Nigerians have been hampering on the need for transparency and accountability in its disbursements, monitoring and evaluation in terms of its judicious use for those it is intended for. These are going to be the many points of interaction on the show this morning. But before we delve into all of this, we'll go on a short break, and when we return, that will be our next focus on Morning Express. Do all to stay with us.
It is Groovy Mono, aka the Steve Prince.
Yo, what's up? It's Big Shags. I'm in London.
Hey guys, I'm Princess Jekoko. My name is Mutale Mwanza, the Queen of Zambian Media.
My name is Grand Prince Itek. Hi guys, my name is Baj Adebule. I'm an actor and a filmmaker.
Hello guys, I'm Falagade Banks.
My name is Kelechi Amadiobi, photographer, storyteller.
My name is Lanradi Dura, I'm an actor.
My name is Chidi Mokime.
Hi, my name is Uche Uba.
It's TV season.
I'm Miss Thames.
Hi ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, mamas and papas, I am Jimmy. You can call me the entertainer.
My name is Esio Dometa. I am an actor and a film producer.
My name is Sobi Kuvala.
Hi. My name is Julius the Genius. I would give a shout out to ADBN.
Big shout out to ADBN TV.
You're watching ADBN.
And you are watching.
Keep watching ADBN TV.
And this is ADBN TV.
And this is a shout out to ADBN TV. Keep watching, don't switch the dial.
Shout out to ADBN. Keep watching, love.
And you are watching ADBN TV.
Shout out to ADBN TV.
I've got one thing for you. Make sure you keep watching ADBN TV.
And shout out
to ADBN TV.
Shout out to ADBN TV. Don't touch the dial.
And you're watching
ADBN TV. Keep watching ADBN TV.
And I'm shouting out to ADBN TV.
They're watching ADBN TV.
Keep watching ADBN TV. This is where to be. and you're watching ADBN.
And shout out to
ADBN TV.
And shout out to ADBN TV. Keep watching.
And you're watching ADBN TV.
Keep watching ADBN TV.
Right now, you are checking out ADBN TV. One time.
ADBN. Keep watching. I love you and kisses.
Keep watching ADBN.
And a special shout out to ADBN. Keep doing what you're doing, guys.
Please don't touch that dial.
Stay groovy.
Hey, Bobby.
Ah! It's a shout out to ADBN.
ADBN, Advocate Broadcasting Network.
Welcome to the Niger Delta, a region of incredible beauty and stark contrast. From its breathtaking landscapes to its rich cultural heritage, this is a place where history and modernity collide. But beneath this serene surface lies a story of struggle and resilience. The Niger Delta is the lifeblood of Nigeria's economy, home to vast oil reserves that fuel the nation, yet it is a land where the people fight for their share of the wealth. Join us on the program Niger Delta Today as we explore the heart of the Niger Delta, discover the vibrant cultures, the struggles for environmental justice, and the stories of the people who call this place home. This is the Niger Delta, a land of contrast, a story of resilience, a journey of hope. Don't miss our exclusive series, Niger Delta Today, every day at 12 noon, only on ADBN TV. Witness the untold stories, experience the journey, be part of the change.
Welcome to the world where innovation meets opportunity, where ideas become empires. This is Market TV.
I am Idorian Flannan, and every week I'll be taking you inside the dynamic world of marketing and commercial business.
From groundbreaking startups to big businesses, Market TV brings you the best pricing and latest goods on display.
It's all about understanding your audience and staying ahead of the trends.
Witness the creative processes that drive the various brands.
Join us as we dive deep into the strategies that shape the commercial landscape. From streets to traditional advertising and social media, we cover it all.
Whether you're a seasoned professional or an aspiring entrepreneur, Market TV provides the insights you need to thrive.
This show gave us the tool to turn our vision into reality.
So, if you're ready to master the market, tune into Market TV every Saturday at 6 p.m.
No matter wetin I see, enough fit make mouth heavy to talk am. That's now why people dey talk.
You know wetin dey worry you, but you no go fit take help yourself.
In this kind of situation now, what if they really no talk to una? Wetin be the way forward?
They go bury our chairman on Thursday. We go remain here.
Make we talk good where we dey see good, and where we know say we no dey see good, make we also dey talk am.
No woman, no mother deserve to know the grave of his child.
The bank manager and the bank executive, they are the one the government should first face.
People They Talk, the show on Monday to Friday by 5 p.m. on top ADBN TV.
Step into the heartbeat of the world where news meets real talk. From breakthroughs in diplomacy to humanitarian challenges and scientific milestones, Global Digest takes you beyond the headlines and straight to the heart of the matter. I am Amma Marcus. Be a part of the world unfolding stories at 3 p.m. on ADBN, channel 258 on DSTV, and Star Times, channel 140. Global Digest, your window to the world's current affairs, only on Advocate Broadcasting Network.
In a world of overwhelming voices where everyone has different opinion on different issues, It is important that we bring the core issue to the fore. Join me, Nancy Banigo, on Softline as we lend our voices to inform and influence your thoughts and actions. This is not just mere talk, it is an invocative program that touches the core of our existence.
It is Groovy Mono, aka the Steez Prince.
Yo, what's up? It's Big Shags. I'm in London.
Hey guys, I'm Princess Jekoko. My name is Mutale Mwanza, the Queen of Zambian Media.
My name is Grand Friends iTech. Hi guys, my name is Baj Adebule. I'm an actor and a filmmaker.
Hello guys, I'm Falagade Banks.
My name is Kelechi Amadiobi, photographer, storyteller.
My name is Lanradi Dura, I'm an actor.
My name is Chidi Mokeme.
Hi, my name is Uche Uba.
It's Tobe Season.
I'm Miss Thames.
Hi ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, mamas and papas, I am Jimmy. You can call me the Entertainer.
My name is Essie Odometa. I am an actor and a film producer.
My name is Sobi Kubana.
Hi. My name is Julius the Genius. I would give a shout out to ADBN.
Big shout out to ADBN TV.
You're watching ADBN.
And you are watching.
Keep watching ADBN TV.
And this is ADBN TV.
And this is a shout out to ADBN TV. Keep watching, don't switch the dial.
Shout out to ADBN. Keep watching, love.
And you are watching ADBN TV.
Shout out to ADBN TV.
I've got one thing for you. Make sure you keep watching ADBN TV.
And shout out
to ADBN TV.
Shout out to ADBN TV. Don't touch that dial.
And you're watching
ADBN TV. Keep watching ADBN TV.
And I'm shouting out to ADBN TV.
You're watching ADBN TV.
Keep watching ADBN TV. This is where to be. And you're watching ADBN.
And shout out to
ADBN TV.
And shout out to ADBN TV. Keep watching.
And you're watching ADBN TV.
Keep watching ADBN TV.
Right now you are checking out ADBN TV. One time.
ADBN, keep watching. I love you and kisses.
ADBN. One time.
ADBN, keep watching. I love you and kisses.
Keep watching ADBN.
And a special shout out to ADBN. Keep doing what you're doing, guys.
Please don't touch that dial.
Stay groovy.
Mwah.
Hey, Bobby.
Ha! It's a shout out to ADBN.
ADBN, Advocate Broadcasting Network.
Step into the heartbeat of the world where news meets real talk. From breakthroughs in diplomacy to humanitarian child armor markers, be a part of the world unfolding stories at 3 p.m. on ADBN, channel 258 on DSTV, and Star Times, channel 140, channel 258 on DSTV, and Star Times, channel 140. Global Digest, your window to the world's current affairs, only on Advocate Broadcasting Network.
All right, welcome back. Before we delve into our main topic of discussion this morning, let's give you highlights from yesterday's Federal Executive Council meeting as presided over by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, particularly from the angle it started on the back of the advocacy for the approval of the establishment of Citizen Value Brigade for primary system. Let's take a listen to comments made by Alhaji Mohammed Idris in that regard.
So, which is not usual that we have also members from the Ministry of Information and National Orientation. Today, Council has approved a number of changes in our policies to strengthen our national values system, the chief of which is that the National Citizens Values Brigade has been approved to be established in all primary and secondary schools, as you have heard from the Honorable Minister of Education. Of course, this will raise model citizens among Nigerians. We have noted, Council has noted the gradual erosion of our values, especially among the younger ones, and this is giving rise to the kind of misbehavior and attitude that we see that is out of tune with our tradition and our norms and our upbringing. So, Council has noted that there is the need for strengthening and going back to these core values that Nigeria is known for over time, for which we know that there has been some kind of decline. So today, Council said, first, the National Citizens Values Brigade will be established, not just in primary schools, in secondary schools across this country. Now, this will also help to create the ambassadors of Nigerian values that this country seeks to have. Again, there was an approval of the inclusion of the National Values Charter and the national symbols to be made mandatory, not just in our curriculum, in the teaching of civic education, but also among appointees of government. For example, at every retreat, at the inception of every administration, members, for example, of the Federal Executive Council will have some form of workshop or training on what our national values are, so that this can be further be inculcated. And not only that, also the standardization of our national symbols, the national flag, the national anthem, the Naira notes, the Constitution, and all those things that make what we call our national symbols. We must standardize them. Council has approved that the National Orientation Agency will take charge of that. The way we see our flags being hosted in some indiscriminate manner will be standardized. There is a particular standard of the way we want our national flags to look like at all times. The ones on the table, the ones you mount on your vehicles, the ones that also stand, with particular dimensions and all the details of that will be provided later. But it is important to mention that in addition to the infrastructural revamp that this administration is paying a lot of attention to, there's also the need for us to have a value reorientation amongst all Nigerians. And this, of course, the administration is paying a lot of attention to, and emphasis is going to be put there. The objective is that the decline that we have seen in our value system, we hope that we will reclaim those, and this, again, will help in moving this direction on the part of sustainable progress and development that all of us collectively so desire. So the Council has said that a lot of these activities that have been put in place, details of which we will provide to you, members of the press. It's difficult to now go into those the details now. Now, having said that, there is also, for emphasis, that the Council has directed a technical committee for the review of all dams in Nigeria be set up. That has been approved by Council. It's a technical committee to review all dams in Nigeria as a result of what we have seen in Borno, and also the kind of activities we have seen around our various dams scattered around the country. The committee has now been set up so that we focus on that and mitigate the possibility of the kind of disasters that we have seen in recent time. And the committee will have, of course, the Honorable Minister of Water Resources and Sanitation as chair, Honorable Minister of Finance, Honorable Minister of Works, Minister of Housing and Urban Development, Budget and Economic Planning, of the National Office of the National Security Advisor, and of course the Ministry of Information, to provide you with the necessary information that you require from time to time. And just an addition to what the Honorable Minister of Finance and Economic Planning has also put out, the Disaster Relief Fund that Council has approved to take off today will have from the private sector as well. The Minister of FCT will be there, the Minister of Finance and the Coordinating Minister of the Economy, the Honorable Minister of Budget, and other relevant ministries. We'll give you details of that also as we move on. Of course, the Ministry of Information will also be there to continue to give you the necessary information that you require. Now, in view of the fact that today, as you'll agree with me, we've had a very bumper edition, a lot of things to report on, I will crave your indulgence as I open the floor for for questions to please. I know hands are already flying up because there are a lot of things to talk about, but please, let's.
Approved by the council. One is the rehabilitation, a new contract for the rehabilitation of Maraban, Kankara, Fontua Road in Katsina State. Second one is the award of contract for the construction of 258 kilometer 3-lane carriageway, a component of the 1000 Sokoto Badagry Superhighway, Section 2, Phase 2A. And it is to be done, it's in KB section, and it's to be done with a continuous reinforced concrete pavement. And it excludes all bridges and flyovers, and it's awarded today. Second one is the contract for the construction and dualization of Afibo, Uturu, Okigwe in Ebonyi, Abia, and Imo State, Section 2. It's approved. The third one is the Bodo Boni Route under Julius Berger. The Federal Executive Council approved additional 80 billion to complete that project, bringing the total cost to 280 billion under Julius Berger, and that is Bodo Boni in River State. The next is the Third Mainland Bridge. The Third Mainland Bridge was executed under emergency work. When you have emergency work, you have to get going and then measure the work and then appear to send all your measurements and quotations to the BPP. And that's what we did. At the time that we got into office, the Third Mainland Bridge was a nightmare. The deck, there was, pavement differentials of over 1 foot. And that was causing a lot of accident and hold up and constituting dead load to the Third Mainland Bridge. So that has been done, and it's also extended to Falomo and Queen's Drive. It also came with, solar light. Yesterday I inspected the observation room. We have observation room we built by the sea line, and the essence of it is that all through the length and breadth of the route, the security agencies will be within that observation room, and they will be able to check everything happening within the length and breadth of this Third Mainland Bridge. And we give response time to respond to any eventuality for 10 minutes. So the contract covers about 4 security vans and the 1 speedboat. They will all be within the observation room. The job of the CCTV is about 95% done. And that is going to be very helpful, and that is what we are also proposing for all our federal highway that we are tolling. We are not only putting solar light, we are also putting CCTV camera, have relief stations where observation will happen, and so that will eliminate all the road blockage. So that was approved today. We have 14 road projects and bridges that we were approved for construction. They were badly affected by floods, and some of the bridges were being threatened. We have Ado Ekiti, Afe Babalola in Ekiti State. We have JB Lamba Road in Adamawa State. We have Koko Besa Zaria Kata Road in Kebbi State. We have construction of Ngotug to Demeshi Road. We have the Amasiro Bosi Uburi Shagu to Enugu State. We have Awo Iwe Ata, 20.3 kilometer, phase 1. We have a Bom Road in Cross River State. We have the Ilesha Eti Oni, East and Oke Igbo, Ondo State, phase 1. We have construction of Ilesha Eti Oni, Okigbo, Ondo State, section 2. We have Eti that's section 1. We have a T-Oni road on Atakumosa, East Osun State. We have Lafia Shandam Road in Plateau State. We have a section of Abakaliki Afibo Road, section 1. We have dualization of Bodo Ken Kiti Koroma Road in River State. And we have the dualization of Afibo Uturu Okiwe Road in Ebonyi, Abia, and the Imo State. These 14 roads were awarded, and you have a contract for the repair and rehabilitation of Gamburu Bridge along Gamburu Ngala Kala Bade Road in Borno State. We have approval of 2 number contracts of routes. One is the Cross River to Ferekwe Road, and the other one is Kaba in Kogi State down to Ado Ekiti Road in favor of CCACC. We have the Abuja Kano Road, 82 kilometer dualized. It's a project of Jolof Beja that is been ongoing, and we inherited from past administration. About 62 kilometers was completed for a total sum of 393 billion and paid. And so when we came on board, Beja sought to review the entire project. Don't forget that the initial cost of the project was 155 billion, and the past administration reviewed it to 797 billion. And when we came on board, Beja insisted that the reviewed contract sum should be 1.5 trillion. We didn't have that money, and the coordinating minister and myself, we went through the road by ourselves and had strategic meeting with Beja. Eventually, I sought the approval of Mr. President to dismember the project into 3 so that 2 sections could be done on tax credit and Beja could do 1. So the first section is 38 kilometers. It has not been brought to council by 2. It's to be done with concrete. The second section is Beja, and that is 82 kilometers by 2, and it's to be done with asphalt that they have been working with. And the third section is Bua, which is just 17 kilometers to be done on concrete. And so today, FEC approved that of Jolof Beja because the other 2 were not before FEC. And so for a total contract sum of 740 billion. If you remove approximately 400 billion paid by the last administration, then what is left is about 400 billion. That is, the 340 billion. That is what the contract sum for the 164 kilometer will be. And that's what FEC approved today. And then FEC also approved rehabilitation of Abuja. Yeah, that is the one that I've just read. Then FEC noted the meeting that the National Council of Engineering had in Ebonyi State, and the terms of reference of the council was to formulate policy and implementation, institutional strengthening, adoption of continuously reinforced concrete pavement for our roads, integrated financing and alternative funding for roads and bridges. So a number of approvals were made by the council based on the edict establishing them, and FEC were invited to note such approval as made by council. And lastly, or second to the last, is a noting of the construction of Bama to Banki Road in Borno State. It's just that the elements of the road changed, but the contract sum did not change. So we needed to inform FEC. Then lastly is the Lekki Deep Seaport. I hope I've mentioned the Lekki Deep Seaport, the service lane, were approved today by FEC for construction because the congestion is already building up there. The carriageway being done is there's a traffic jam, and there is a need to have the service lane. So FEC approved that. And lastly, we discover from my inspection yesterday that we have over 3,000 of fuel trucks that were queuing for the Dangote fuel lifting. And they were all parked on the newly constructed road. Technically, and by design, the roads were never built for static loads. And so it has a lot of effect. And so we're going to have the same thing we have in Apapa that damaged the entire road until it was constructed on concrete. So what FEC approved today is that the land that we have, federal government land, we should put it for concession so that concessionaire could bid, and whoever that wins it will be able to build a park. And so it's a park that will be towed so that all those trucks could safely park, over there. And the pavement of such a park is quite different from the pavement of the road. So this is what FEC approved today.
Now, these are highlights from yesterday's Federal Executive Council meeting as presided over by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Notably, the Minister of Works there, Engineer David Umahi, letting Nigerians know that approval has been given for the construction of more roads across the country, particularly also as regards infrastructure in Lagos. In perspective, it is the Lekki Deep Sea Port which should also in some way decongest the Apapa Wharf. You heard the minister talk about some of the other gains in terms of also maximizing the largest single train refinery in Lagos, the Dangote refinery, with opening up more routes for the trucks loading and departing Dangote refinery. We'll bring you more details in our subsequent news bulletin. But back to our main topic of discussion this morning. In line with the current issues of flooding affecting major parts of the country, we're now joined by the managing consultant / CEO and pioneer DG of the FCT Emergency Management Agency. I'm talking about none other than the delectable and esteemed Dr. Abbas Garba Idris. Good morning to you, Doctor.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure to have you in our studio.
It's my pleasure too.
Now, in addressing Nigeria's flood issues, many were thrown aback about the devastating effects in Maiduguri, Borno State. And we've seen the international community rally around Nigerians, more like eminent Nigerians, donating towards a disaster relief fund to help them. Yeah. But beyond this, we would like to look at it on a thematic basis, from prevention to our response and then to relief. But let's get your thoughts, much as you sympathize with those in Borno this morning as you make your comments.
Yeah, thank you very much. I want to once again really sympathize with the people and government of Borno State for that avoidable disaster. It is very unfortunate that such thing happened. And I want to link it up with certain things, especially when you are talking about prevention. You see, in disaster management, the whole thing centers on planning and preparation. And you don't look at it and sit down and wait until it happens before you now respond. You have to start planning. And luckily, disasters give signs. It doesn't just come. It doesn't just occur. Even if it is a tremor, earthquake, it starts from somewhere. So, and there should be experts who are really monitoring those things, especially when we are talking of dams. There are experts in dams who are monitoring the nature of the dams. How is it spilling up? How is it really, does it require some strategic work? And also, that dam, if it is spilled over or it's open, there must be a waterway that will pass. And so there should be experts also who are going to really make sure that that line is not blocked. It's just like the NNPC line, that the pipeline, you cannot just go and start building on that pipeline. So some experts are really monitoring to ensure that nobody encroach into that. So also the waterways, we shouldn't allow people to just come and build over the waterways and so something just come to happen.
One thing that stands out for me as you make your comments is avoidable.
Yes.
Now we're looking at a response, particularly as we reviewed some of the outcomes of the FEC meeting yesterday. FEC has also set up a technical committee to assess all dams in the country, because the situation in Maiduguri, the controversy, many are blaming climate change. Some persons are saying it's the Alao Dam that had some structural integrity issues. But be this the case, what would you expect of this technical committee as set up by FEC?
Why are we always setting up committees? Why are we always setting up committees? We had dams. Those dams were constructed by experts, and it's being supervised by a ministry or a department or a parastatal. So, and those people are there. Are there any experts that are going to be more than those people who have been, who developed the dams, and then they are going to, what kind of work are they going to do? If you go to each dam, you will see a settlement, you will see an office, you will see officers working, and each year there are budgets managing those dams. All we need to do is to follow the templates and then ensure that we have done the right thing. We shouldn't be going front and back, because by the time you set up a technical committee, are they going to unseat those people who are resident in that dam, or are we going to have a new dam, or we are going to have a new waterways, the way we are going to. You see, climate change has come to overtake everything, and we have to align ourselves with the climate change. We have to find out what is the impact that the climate change is bringing to our economy, to our water system. And then we also send our experts for training, train them, and then let them come and manage our dams. But if we continue to review, we will continue. After this government, another government will come and set up a committee. We had series of flood committees. Where is the outcome? Now the flood relief committee has been set up long time ago, if you remember, under the multi-billionaire Dangote during the first 2012 flooding. What is the outcome of that committee? What have they achieved? What is the result? What are we going? What are we heading? Is there any report? Where are we going? And where did we lack certain things? Then we improve upon. But if we go back, having done this, and come back and start all over, we will still remain at the same point, and then we are going to be caught up by the same flood. I don't belong to a school of thought that believe that flood is a disaster. I don't believe in that. Flood is a risk, and so it's a hazard, and therefore it can be managed. And if we want to, if you like, go and build your house on a flood plain and say flood will not come and take over the house. So, but if you build your house at an upper land, we have already taken a precaution. And if this is a waterway, and you didn't allow the water to come and pass, and you build a house, and then when the water comes, you say you have been overtaken by disaster. What is the disaster there? You are the disaster, because already this is a waterway, and you came and built on it. So we can be able to prevent it. It's not every water. In fact, some people are looking for this water. We can arrest this water and make it a tourism attraction and earn money to it. Some countries are looking for it. Go to Israel. Have you ever heard that today they stop war because of rainfall? They don't have rain. If you have ever been to Israel, your pee is fee. When you pee, it goes somewhere. And they use it for whatever. And today, if we are looking for expert in agriculture, we look at Israelites to come and build for us. They don't have water. So what we need to do is to go back to the drawing board and look at those things that we're supposed to do, improve upon it. And the only thing, again, do away with corruption and ensure transparency in all what we are doing. Otherwise, you can see, go and check the budgets of all the ministries responsible for flood and whatever. You see that every year there are money for dams management, there are money for floodplains areas, there are money for waterways, there are money. What happened last year? We had flood on those Lokoja Abuja road that we had how many days without traffic, and yet what has happened? is that does anybody give a report that this is an improvement we have done? If today we have such kind of flood, it's going to be okay. We will have trailers coming to the north or coming to Abuja to dispatch fuel. So we are always at one point, and then we continue to do. So we have to do away with corruption and ensure transparency in all we are doing, and people should be accountable.
Now, talking about accountability, also listening to comments made by the governor, Babagana Zulum, he lamented this neglect. He said that there had been reports over 9 years ago about some of the issues affecting the Alao Dam. Now, in preferring solutions from the angle of ensuring regulation, even from a point of structural integrity and buildings around these high-risk areas, like you say, who would you feel is more saddled with this responsibility? People talk about the federal government being overburdened when states are not taking the initiatives to ensure that emergency response agencies within states collaborate at the federal level and at the state level to ensure due enforcement.
You see, it involves everybody. As far as I'm concerned, it's a joint effort. Federal government can set up an establishment, and then the state government can also contribute, and the people, most especially the people, because those people that are affected by this flood, were they trained? Were they even told in case of anything, this is what you can do? It is the responsibility, our own responsibility, I can say, to train the people living along the riverside as well as those floodplain areas and the waterways. You have to train them. And I always advocate for a localized way of doing things. If you go to riverine areas, you see a small boy going to primary school by canoe. He knows how to use canoe from this point to the other point to go to primary school, and when he comes back, he can also do that. You can never have such in the north, except those who are fishermen, isn't it? And so if you have such people, train them, give them modern equipment, you know, and then tell them that in case of this, this is how you carry out rescue. You can rescue your papa, you can rescue other people. Look at what was happening in Maiduguri. Nobody can even use canoe. Common canoe, nobody can use it. So, and even among the experts that we said were the responders, we cannot even use canoe. Do we even have the canoe? We don't. So these are the things that we need to. We need to incorporate whatever that we come along. We discover that this is a local, and it can be trained, it can be changed. We use it. We don't have to import something from abroad. But those people that are really working and living along the waterways, we train them, we show them how to understand early warnings. That's first thing. Let them understand that once you see the level of water reaching to this level at this dam, then you evacuate, because it will get to a place that the dam will explode. So if they see that, they will have to leave, start living before it gets to the red line. So if you teach them that, they will now alert those people, and those living on the area, they cannot evacuate. The issue of evacuation in this country is neglected. We don't evacuate. And even Japan this week has served a notice, because they noticed there was going to be flood, and they issue a notice that people should evacuate, and neatly they evacuate. And luckily, if you go to Japan, they have evacuation centers. So you can see an old woman trekking to evacuation centers before the earthquake or before a flood. So
now talking about this evacuation center, sorry to cut you, Doctor, it's a big challenge, because yesterday and today we saw another evacuation order as issued by the federal government, and they said it is as a result of the River Benue that has risen to 0.9 meters.
Yes.
Now people are asking,
to
where did these persons relocate to?
That is the issue. If we had adequate planning, we will have, as we are building dams, we will now build evacuation centers, because we are sure that these dams is going to spill over. So if we have that plan, that is why I told you in disaster management, preparation, early warning is key. So we have to do that. We will have done that as we are building dams. We are building dams and people are living around that area, or they will come for fishery. So we have to really plan for them. If it gets to a level, where are they going? So you just boom, give them a notice, and then they will all move to the upper area. But we don't. You go to a place that is very dangerous, but no evacuation center. And the evacuation centers are well equipped in developed countries. Whatever trade you do, you will continue to do it at the center. So it is not going to be bored for you. You can stay there up to 1 week, 2 weeks. Now, even the open land that people came to take shelter have been chased away, going back to where the flood was ravaged, and then the integrity of the building. Most of the buildings in Maiduguri are mold block, and then it was overtaken by water. And now you ask people to go back to that house. Then we will not be having collapsed building, and then also the outbreak of diseases. Because we need to settle these people at least for 2 weeks. If there is adequate planning, we will have all planned for this. That, okay, we will do this. And we'll some people will have to build them a home for themselves, because they can't be able to go back to where they were coming from. So these are all planning in disaster management. And we need to take them sequentially, subsequently to make sure that everybody is treated well. Now, okay, coming to issues of even intervention, have we taken? How much losses have we incurred in Maiduguri? Can anybody tell us?
Financial businesses crumbled.
Yes, livelihood. Who can tell us? Who can give us figures now that this is the losses incurred as a result of the flood in Maiduguri? Now we have set up a committee to go and share whatever that is there. How are you going to share it? If you go to a household, if you go to a compound, you can have 10 households, and 10 times 20 maybe. Somebody is having families, in terms of the family. In terms of the family. Are you going to just take the entrance of the house as a point? So we need to carry out adequate assessment to know the losses that we incurred, and then to see there are certain losses that the government, the state government cannot be able to take, even the federal government cannot be able to take. Then we now yell out and ask for support from the foreign countries. They will come and help us. There are NGOs who are looking for giving out shelter. There are NGOs who are looking out for giving livelihoods. So these are the people, these are the kinds of contact that we're supposed to do. But we must have our statistics.
Now, some of the statistics that have come to bear, we'll look at them as they are provided for. NEMA provided certain statistics. The death toll as of last week was 30 persons. We're told that over 400 persons were displaced. But the challenge was that only 9 IDP camps were on ground as at the time of that report. We're seeing foreign NGOs, United Nations coming. Some monies have been donated. The vice president was there. The president, upon arrival, also visited there. But like you're asking, the challenge is with being able to get an accountable figure as to how much has been donated, and also to be able to evaluate and monitor its disbursement.
Even the death figures and the people affected, can we rely on that figures? What are the sources? What we look at the response. How many agencies carried out the response? And were there any collaborative report that shows those figures? Because before you give figures, there must be a reliable source for that figure, and that can be used by anybody. If you are now telling us that only 40 or 30 died in Maiduguri, go and ask the people of Borno. Go and ask them if they can tell you whether they are 400 or even it's less than 30. Let them say it. So the issue is that we shouldn't be playing politics with such things, because it's going to help us in developing our future events. Because if we said only 40 people died, maybe 39 people died, then we lied on one. If we say it's 39, meanwhile it's 41, we also lied. So we need to critically take assessment. Like I said, we have to take assessment, and the assessment is going to be joint, because there are different stakeholders who are involved that are going to do everything. If I tell you now, any figure, any index, matrix figure that you can give on IDPs. If it didn't come from IOM, you are wasting your time. You are wasting your time. So also, you have agencies that are responsible in other sectors also, who are looking for that figures critically. It's just like an election. Somebody will come and tell you that he does not agree. You can see what is happening in Edo. Observer is saying this, another observer is saying that, because they have look at it from different angles. So there is need for them to harmonize their own reports and then agree on whatever they have, so that the world will accept it. And especially at this period of hunger that is going on in US, United Nations. So this is the time that we'll carry our report. Whatever we have, genuinely, we now present it. Even if it is a sideline, we now present it that we are ravaged by a disaster, and this is how it happened, and it has affected this, and we are looking, projecting in the nearest future, this is going to happen. It's going to affect our people economically. In fact, the area has been affected badly for consequently, for so many years, from Boko Haram, fire incidences, now flood, so many things. Then we know how to look at the future. What is going to be the future of Borno if we allow to go like this? So now we need to look at the structure of the entire state, and then also look at the dam, and then also be able to make sure that there is a very constructive way of channeling water out of Maiduguri. 30 years ago it happened, and it was neglected. Nothing happened.
Now this becomes a perennial issue, and planning for next year, a lot of persons continue to fault the lack of a national census. Now you've talked about collaboration in this regard. What do you think the office of the minister can do in this regard in terms of national planning and budgets going into the next year ahead of the wet seasons again?
Are you saying that the national census is a factor? I don't think so, because all the state governors are having their census, because they know the people living, they know the settlement they are working with. What of those agencies that are supposed to do certain things before people move in? If you have a layout, what do you have to do in the layout before you settle people? You have to make sure that all the infrastructures are there. It's like Abuja, you can't go and start building without infrastructure. It's only some few years back that we realized that lands were given out to people without engineering infrastructure in Abuja, and we face the consequences, like Lokogoma. Lokogoma, there is no engineering infrastructure, and that was why they suffered a lot of floods. So you have to put the engineering infrastructure, and then make sure that anybody coming to build also got approved building plan, and then is going to be supervised by the same agency to ensure that you didn't tamper with approval. Now you have to allow certain openings in your house, within your house, for water to percolate. You don't just put cement everywhere so that water can run out. And that is why even in Abuja we are having some flood in some areas because of violations of the planning concept. So the state governors, before if they notice that people are settling somewhere, they have to go and look, stop them, bring the planning authority, let them come and plan, put the layout, put the drainages, and then give adequate planning, a building plan to everybody approval before. So if anybody build, that is one thing that the governors must courageously take. They should go and remove any building that is built on the waterways.
Now, Doctor, in closing, we have less than 2 more minutes. My last question, which has been a concern of many viewers and Nigerians on the part of state governments and their involvement, is the provision of the ecological fund that also still has some discrepancies about how it's used, how it's accessed by these communities that are most affected by flood. What's your call on that as we close?
And each state is benefiting from ecological funds. And everybody knows the definition of ecological funds. But does it go through that channel? Throughout my stay, 10 years as DG, I've never used ecological funds. I don't know how it is used, whether it comes or not. I've never used ecological funds.
That's very alarming to hear. In 10 years as DG.
10 years as DG, I have never known how ecological funds is being used. Nobody has given me ecological funds. So but it's been given every month to each state and the FCT. That is the fact. So, and that is the reason why there are certain things that the federal government should really sit down and take some drastic solution, like the way they took action on the local government autonomy, financial autonomy. That is the things. We don't need new laws. We have all the regulations. We have all the laws. All we need to do is sit down and look at it critically and enforce it. Enforcement is the key. Even if it means going to the court, go there. Let's make sure that if there is ecological fund, is it for what? Let it be defined and be used. And then there should be report. If you don't give report, next month you will not get it. Simple. I am the custodian of that fund, and I give you for you to work for the people. If you don't give feedback to me, give me your report for the last outing as a reporter. If you don't give me, I can assign you to go for another assignment. Report. So that is all. If we can strictly stay on that, that means we are fighting the corruption and we are ensuring transparency.
Well, I must thank you, Doctor, for your time on the program. I'm afraid this is as much as we can accommodate in this very interesting revelation that you have made this morning. We're hoping that the respective agencies saddled with this will take a cue from some of the advisories you have issued.
Thank you very much for having me. I'm glad.
Now, Dr. Abbas Garba Idris, pioneer CEO and DG of the FCT Emergency Response Agency, has highlighted some shocking revelations and has urged the federal government to look into the issues of ecological funds, citing that in over a decade as DG, some of the disbursements owing to ecological funds have remained quite a dumbfounding issue for him. Well, this is available for you to rewatch on our YouTube channel and subsequently on our news bulletins, where more insights will be given to Nigeria's steps in addressing the perennial flood situation from the angle of prevention, response and relief. Well, we'll take a short break now, and when we return, we'll be handing over to our Abuja sports editor for ADBN Sports at 10. Please stay tuned.
It is Groovy Mono, aka the Steez Prince.
Yo, what's up? It's Big Shags. I'm in London.
Hey guys, I'm Princess Jekoko. My name is Mutale Mwanza, the Queen